And we are live. I didn't post about this at all. Totally forgot about it. Didn't post ahead of time like I should have posted last week. Hey, we're live streaming this Sunday, and didn't do we're live. So hi everybody out there who's not watching right now but may watch later. Check out this bottle of water, bro. This should get me through the episode.
Oh, yeah, that's a long one for sure.
This is that electrolyte water, which it's very important right now.
Got salt in it. What is it? Flavored berry?
No, it's not.
Oh, I thought it was flavored.
It's got these weird flowers around it.
Oh,
it's not flavored. It's just It's just electrolyte water.
Gotcha,
With electrolytes in it. Well, we do have 2 people watching right now, so
all right.
I mean, anybody subscribe to the YouTube channel will get the alert.
They'll get noticed.
So,
yeah.
Sometimes I feel like posting about stuff. I mean, posting it over on Blue Sky or Threads or Instagram or wherever. That's just in hopes that someone who's never heard your show before, heard of it, will go, oh, that looks slightly interesting. Maybe I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
Oh, I should probably start my recording device.
Oh, yeah, I should too. Yeah, posting any links or anything like that of anything to Twitter is a big fucking, whatever.
Oh, yeah?
Test 1 2 1 2. Yeah, because seldom do links come through anymore. It just puts up the link. You used to get a placard of what. Yeah. Now it's just a fucking line of hyperlink, and I'm like, well, that's exciting for somebody to see and want to do. Yeah,
I stopped Twitter a while back. I didn't delete it from my phone. Actually, maybe I did delete it from my phone, but it's not like it's not hard to get back. People who do that, I've deleted it from my phone. Oh, well, I guess you'll never be able to go to the App Store and get it back.
South African bitch boy just screwed the hell out of that. Just like his asshole twin brother up in Washington is with a bigger dick screwing basically the whole country. So it's.
It's like there's days where I open up my, get on my phone, I look at the news sites and social media and stuff, and it's just like, I don't have the strength to even be outraged anymore.
No.
And that's what that means he wins. I have to pound. Yeah.
And my defense, I'm a lot like that. I keep up so that I know, so that if there is some reference or something like that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, I saw that. But I don't, I'm not interested to see exactly what's happening anymore. And you say, well, because you're not involved, but you don't have the energy to fight in essence, or what have you. My defense for that is, well, the energy to fight isn't mine. Okay. I vote for fuckers to go to Washington to fight for me. And if my doing that, which is what I'm supposed to do, and that doesn't work, then I turn and think, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Because those are the people that I put in place to keep this shit from happening.
Yeah.
But instead of agreeing with me, they agree apparently with him. And I'm like, but that's not what you said. You didn't agree with him. Well,
if there's somebody to replace them,
4 years is enough to fucking sink the whole country. Trust me. It takes far less than that. So the next time it comes around, they'll already have put everything in place to where they can't be voted out.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to see start happening is that our entire system that we have relied on for, I don't know, almost 250 years at this point is being so broken that it won't, not that it currently works in a lot of people's estimation anyways, but it's not going to work at all. very, very soon, unless the people we have put in place to stop it from happening, stop it from happening. But they don't seem interested in doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what you do. You say, I need help. And somebody says, I'll help. And you agree to use their help. And then they don't help. Think of as a house owner, there are millions of things around the house that we as an individual, we don't know how to do. We don't have the expertise to do that. Well, what's going to happen ultimately if that is the same situation with us in our house? That bitch is going to crumble to the ground.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I did the best that I could by recognizing I needed help and soliciting for help. And then the help screwed me.
Yep.
Where do you go? What do you do? I could pick up my shotgun and go and blast the fucking head off of everybody that screwed me. I'm not sure how that's going to fix my house.
Yeah.
It is beyond frustrating for me to watch, and I just I fantasize at times truly about moving and living in a different country. Yep. I have never done that before in my entire life. I have never even remotely thought of that. Yeah. There is no better country in the world for the way that I live than the United States. And it's getting to be, not so much anymore. You're going to have to live a different way to be able to live better in a different country, And I just, whatever.
Sucks ass.
I put my head down and keep to myself, and I pray nobody asks me my opinion about a bunch of things. I just, every day, because I'll keep my mouth shut as long as nobody gets me to talk, as long as they don't ask me or I'm not involved in a conversation or anything like that, because at that point, I'm not going to lie. I'm not a liar. So rather than facing the truth, I would rather you just not engage me in conversation. Just don't do that. It probably is not going to end well. So unless we're talking about a comic book, and that's fine. This is the comic book. This is the 23 pages. What are your thoughts on these 23 pages? Okay, I'm okay.
What if it's a comic book that makes you angry and invites rage into your heart?
I won't do that. I'll probably go to the extent of saying, I don't like it. I probably won't read this again.
Yeah.
Case in point.
That's same. It's like same with me. It's like if I read a book that I don't like, I'm not like, I got to get on the internet and blast this. No. I'm just like, I'm not going to read any more of those.
Now there are times that I will say something. I think I said it both on Blue Sky and Twitter. The wife and I this past weekend watched the latest Master of the Universe movie.
So did I. Let's.
Okay.
All right. It's going to be my banter talk. Yeah.
The other thing is, we also have been catching up on Star Wars, Strange New Worlds, Star Trek, Strange New Worlds.
Oh, okay. I haven't watched
season 2. Near the end of the season, it was 10 episodes, and like episode 6, 7, 8, around in there, they had a musical episode. Okay. 20 minutes into the episode, Terry could tell that I was not engaged. And she said, do you want to just skip that? I'm like, no, let it run. We'll get over it. We'll move on to something better. And that's, it was bad for me. I did not enjoy anything about it. It was not entertaining. It didn't hold my at all. Nothing. But I'm like, no, I want to watch the show. This is a bump. I'll get over the bump, and I'll just hope that the rest of the season or the rest of the show, whatever, gets back to what they were doing before that I like. And it did. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. That was a bad episode. I wouldn't recommend anybody watch it, but watch the show because overall the show is good. So.
And now, if you ever do a rewatch, you can skip that episode.
Oh, yes. Yes, I can. Oh, this is the, next. Okay, there we go. There was nothing in it that carried over. There was no new information. There was, I'm like, yeah. Now, I will say afterward, they have made references to the situation that they found themselves in during the musical show.
Okay.
So having had it in the background, at least I know the reference when they say, well, recently we did encounter XYZ ABC. And I'm like, oh, Yeah, I saw that, and that show sucked. Okay. So. Okay.
I'm
So
listening.
I know. What did you want to banter about? You wanted to talk about.
Well, when we actually start the episode, one of my my main banter subject was the Masters of the Universe movie.
Okay,
so
cool.
Knowing that you just watched it too, it'll be.
Yeah, I think I'm. My opinion may not be the majority of my.
I know it'll
my
be
fellow
fun.
Geeks, maybe. Yeah. So
it'll be a fun
which
discussion.
Is fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's totally fine. I mean, anybody who tells you your opinion is wrong. They're wrong for saying that, unless it's me. I'm allowed to tell people their opinion is wrong. And when I say it,
that's
I'm
right. Yes. Yep.
Yep. Okay. Hey, do me a favor. Okay. Yeah. So if I'm using my camera, if I'm looking at myself and I'm pointing to the side of the screen where I see you, that's where I point.
Okay.
You do the same. Point at me. Okay.
Oh, no, wait a minute. No. Yeah. You're on that side of me.
Oh, okay.
We're both pointing the same way. Because when I look at it, it's in thirds.
Yeah.
And I am on the right third. You're in the middle.
Yep.
And the placard is on the left third. So
yeah,
you are over there. And then the next over there is whatever you're showing, whether it be a comic or.
So you see me pointing like this. Am I pointing at you or am I pointing at the placard?
No, you're pointing at the placard, which is to my left as I'm looking at.
That's good to know. Let me try something here. Boop-a-doop-a-doo.
And I noticed today I did this accidentally. I didn't.
That's awesome, though.
I just grabbed the T-shirt and I'm like, okay, this is the one, and put it on.
Now, am I pointing at you or the placard?
The placard.
Okay, so I'm still pointing at the placard. So
you were still pointing the same way. Now there, you're pointing at me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I say to my right, 1,000 miles to my right, I'm pointing at you. Bill says same here. Bill, I just saw that. Bill from Long Island. So I don't know what you're same hearing. I'm gonna wait for Bill to respond.
I'm gonna okay.
I finally got the last of my stickers in, the Chad Joe podcast stickers. So I'll be sending you and Bill yours.
Direction of screen. Okay.
Okay. Cool. All right. Are you ready to get this sucker recorded?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just gonna write down real quick.
Ed, Steeven, Ed. Yeah, that's the same order it is for me, Bill, as I look from left to right.
All right. Just making note of where I am in Audacity, time signature wise. All right. Here we go. The following episode was recorded in front of a live streaming audience on Sunday, July the 26th, 2026. You're listening to the stupid poop show.
The Superman Super Show. Yeah, no.
I did that already.
That's in another couple weeks. Yeah.
You're listening to the Comic Book Super Show, and this is episode number 6, Honor. Hello and welcome to the Comic Book Super Show. I'm a host. My name is Steven, and 1,000 miles over there to my right is another host, Mr. Ed freaking Moore. Ed, how you doing?
Pretty good, sir. Pretty good. And I want to say we've been talking to him already. Bill from Long Island, thank you for joining us today, sir.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Bill. Bill from Long Island.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear about the extreme heat that you're experiencing. I know that's a very it's a very difficult environmental situation to be in.
Let me see what it's showing right now. It's showing 90 degrees.
Ooh, that's a lot cooler.
It says, though, that it feels like 104.
Right. Relative humidity.
So, yeah. And we're under this extreme heat warning until 9 p.m. tonight. It's so hot out there. This happened last week as well. We got kind of a respite. Is that the right word?
Respite. RESPITE.
Respite over the last few days because we had a storm and it actually cooled things down.
Okay.
But we have this window unit that's literally right over here next to me. Mm-hmm. And that is for anybody listening who might want to hire a podcast editor, that shows my skills because you can't hear it.
Can't hear it. Yeah, that's
That
true.
shows my skills, folks, because it's loud. But this poor thing just cannot keep up when it gets this hot.
No doubt.
And it's almost like at one point, as it started to cool down out there during the lull, it was cooler outside than it was inside, and it was pissing me off because it's like I got to go outside to cool down.
Yeah.
But I finally got the air conditioner in my car working.
Okay.
So that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I like moving air in the car, and most times the temperature doesn't bother me as long as the moving air is there. But there are times that moving hot air is just fucking moving hot air.
Yeah, just moving hot air.
Yeah, it doesn't do a thing.
It's like trying to mop up shit. All you're doing is smearing it around.
Yep, spreading it. Yeah, yeah.
So we were talking before we started recording, and we both learned that just recently, each of us, Bill from Long Island says convection cooking. Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. It got to the point in that my Honda, that without the air conditioner, as long as I was in motion, I was fine because there was wind coming in through the windows, hitting my sweaty body. So, which is one of the reasons you sweat, is so the air will cool you down.
Exactly right. So it was working. Yeah.
Yeah. But as soon as I would have to sit at a stoplight, the heat from the engine, which is about 3 million degrees hotter than it is outside, just, I just drench in sweat for the minute that I sit at the thing there. Yeah. Yep. But anyway, we both learned that just recently we each watched the Masters of the Universe movie. And I think we both kind of learned that we each have a different opinion on the movie. Now I watched it because it came up on Prime on the 22nd. And I think I watched it on my birthday. So I watched it.
Yeah, we watched it on Prime. Day. Yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't like it?
Well, it's probably not a movie that I will ever go back and watch, first of all, which says something. I mean, in particularly those of us that are immersed in geek culture, we seem to have this tendency a lot more than perhaps other types of cultures, where our geek things, whether it be music or TV shows or movies, we at the very least in the future will put on in the background while we do other things and not pay attention to it. But it's there and it gets in. There are aspects or what, and that just seems to be maybe one of the things we do that a lot of other people don't necessarily do that I've heard about. I don't know about hardcore NFL fans putting 15-year-old NFL games on in the background while they're doing something. Maybe they do, but I don't hear about that. So it won't be background noise for me. I thought the cinematography was awesome. Some of the scenes, Eternia itself was just a paradisical or whatever in the way that it was laid out. In the one section after they crashed and they were mulling around and everything like that, I thought some of those scenes were just awesome. Inside the castles, inside Skeletor's castle, as it were, all of that was cool. As close as they stayed to a lot of the really goofy characters from like the cartoon, I thought that was awesome, because that's what those of us with the nostalgia tick, that's what we're wanting to see. They did an excellent job of that. I never would have guessed that it was Jared Leto playing Skeletor. It just didn't. First of all, of course, it didn't look anything like him, which it wasn't supposed to. But his voice, maybe I'm not familiar enough with him to have picked up his voice. I can usually pick up a lot of other people, but I think he was really working hard to not sound like Jared Leto.
Yeah, so. I don't think he's British originally.
No, but that accent was thick. Yeah. That was.
Yeah.
Now, the problem I have, there was a scene where the producers thought it would be cool to play a song. They played a song that is a geek anthem for a completely different IP. Princes of the Universe.
Okay. Yes.
And that is, for me, that is a very strong geekdom.
Was that from Flash Gordon?
That was from Highlander. That was the theme song that was paid to be written for Highlander by Queen.
I didn't think it was from Flash Gordon, but my initial, I was slightly turned off by that as well, but for a different reason, because I felt, as much as I enjoyed the movie, I was watching it, and in the back of my mind, I was thinking, okay, so basically they're trying to capture the Thor Ragnarok thing that Taika Waititi did with Thor Ragnarok, which is basically just embracing what Flash Gordon was. And so then when this Queen song, I'm like, okay, they're like, yeah, we're going for a Flash Gordon Thor Ragnarok vibe here. We're not trying to hide it.
And to put my feelings more succinctly, this is what I wrote. Thor Ragnarok, Flash Gordon. The Masters of the Universe 2026 was entertaining until they played Princes of the Universe, and then it became blasphemous.
Ooh.
That is an anthem that belongs to a previous geek generation. It's not yours. Fight me. and that's the way I feel about it. Because, a whole issue of things. First of all, they didn't need to put a song in that part of the movie. It wasn't a particularly emotional kind of segment for me, where, like in a typical musical, that's where the song would be, a point of high emotion, whatever the kind of emotion. Didn't need to be that. Bill, I said all of this when we watched it here.
Yeah, Bill from Long Island said I said all of this when we watched it here.
And so taking a song that, possibilities, no song, write your own song. Oh, heaven forbid, because everything we know coming out of Hollywood is a rehash. There are absolutely no new ideas coming out. Or a song, a different song. But no, they picked a theme song for the start of one of my absolute favorite, and still an extremely strong geekdom, to insert in their movie. The song was written specifically for a group, or a group was chosen specifically to write a song for a particular movie with particular thoughts and lyrics in mind. It was a very specifically chosen piece of music for the original. And to then bogart it, to try to put it in your movie so that me as a Highlander fan pays you any fucking attention because you have that theme song in there, I am completely against that. If your IP, if your media, movie, whatever it is, cannot stand on its own legs, and you're so afraid that you have to get another fandom to watch your movie, then the problem is with your movie. It's with your creative process that you don't feel it's strong enough to stand on its own. And if it can't, dog. Let it fail and learn from it and move on. But don't mix this stuff with and try to, no, don't do that, because they didn't do that when they had a piece specifically written for their movie.
Yeah.
Why don't you honor that and do the same? That is lazy, and it's cheap. And any movie, and constantly there are movies that you can tell they will bring something in because they want to cross-pollinate, and fans of this will, and I'm a fan of this. And when you do that, I say, oh, hell no. Now I don't like your piece because you tried to bring me in by giving me some little breadcrumby thing to, no, I don't like that.
I don't even understand how anybody would be like, I don't know what they play the Highlander song in He-Man. I gotta,
I'll watch it just for that, minute and a half. Yeah.
Plus you got all these young whippersnappers now they'll hear that on the radio and go, hey, that's the new He-Man song. It's like,
see, there you go. That was in He-Man. It was.
We're kind of at this, crossroads almost, where you're a little bit older than me. Obviously you're a Highlander fan. Did you see Highlander in the theater?
Mm-hmm.
I'd never heard of Highlander until Highlander 2, which I didn't watch and only heard of until it was on like HBO or something. And I thought it was all right. I didn't really get into Christopher Lambert because I thought he had a funny voice. I thought he looked badass.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'd be like, oh, look at me all badass. And he'd go, there can be only one. And I'd go, what? That's not the voice of a badass. What's going on there? Right. But so I'm not in any way, I didn't watch the show when it was on. I have no real connection at all to Highlander. Had no idea that song was from Highlander. Also, you're probably at that age where you really didn't get into He-Man when the toys and the cartoon were on. I was barely.
No, but I was more than just aware of it. I mean, I watched a couple episodes and I remember comic books coming out, and I remember I didn't look this up, but I'm not wrong, am I, that Dolph Lundgren was in a previous movie?
Yes,
he was Prince Adam, right?
Yeah, he played He-Man and Prince Adam.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I thought I vaguely remembered that, and I know that currently there are multiple iterations of Masters of the Universe coming out from, I don't know, Dynamite right now. I mean, they are really pumping the IP for stuff. So maybe because they knew the movie was coming up, I'm not sure. But so I am definitely aware that it is part of the zeitgeist going back all the way to the 80s. I never had any of the toys. I remember seeing the toys whenever I'd go out and look at toys, and so I wasn't a part of it, but I was aware of it.
See, I had a number of the action figures. I was just at that right age as the action figures started coming out. Okay. I think once the cartoon started airing, I was kind of transitioning, you know, still liking the nerd stuff, but I think I was probably started to play music and junk like that and get into a band. But I distinctly remember being in a Toys R Us and seeing the Masters of the Universe figures on the shelf or hanging from their pegs when they first came out, because I turn the corner and I see He-Man, and my first thought was, is that Conan but blonde? But then my second thought was, these guys can beat the shit out of my G.I. Joes, you know? So I got a He-Man, I got a Skeletor. I watched the cartoon if I was home and it was on, basically. But so for me, I really enjoyed the movie. I loved how they, like you said, they really embraced the cheesy villain or the cheesy names of all the characters, but they did it in such a way that was funny, where it was from the mind of a 10-year-old who couldn't remember what Fisto's real name was,
which is exactly what those names sound like. I mean, they sound like Tom Hanks in Big came up with those when they produced the toys. I mean, the names, So that was fun. I think the only thing that I was only taken out of the movie twice. The only time, or only two times that I went, okay. And it was the Queen song, but I already explained the reasoning behind that. And then the fact that they didn't even try, they tried to hide his muscles when he was Adam.
Yeah, they didn't do like any kind of like Captain America like they did with Steve Rogers. So,
but didn't they do a good job of that?
No, I could tell he was muscular.
I thought they did a really good job of that, man. Okay.
I'm like, dude, you're just a muscular guy wearing loose clothes.
He's slumping and he's always got his shoulders up so it drapes and everything. Yeah.
But I did love the end when he goes to change into He-Man, and he's like, okay, well, I guess I'll be going. And they're all like, does he knows that we know. We were all there. He saw us, see him. What is, well, just let him have it.
That's it. That's how he has to do it. He has to go to the closet to change and then come back out. And okay.
And hey, speaking of Prime, we got a new season of Reacher coming up pretty soon.
And
I can never remember her name.
Neely,
yes. Yeah.
It's supposed to drop at, if not exactly the same, then sometime during the season. Her season is supposed to start. So yeah. You'll get double the Reacher. I don't know that he'll be in her show that much, but yeah.
The only other TV stuff I kind of wanted to talk about was, I haven't watched it yet, but the new spin-off of, what is that show? Big Bang Theory.
Oh, okay.
Launched on HBO Max.
I think I saw that. Okay.
When I told my wife yesterday, I think it was, I said the new Big Bang spinoff, the first episode's up on Max. We should watch it. And she was like, "Ooh, a spinoff." And I'm like, no, it's not what you think. And so I tried to explain to her that it's set in like a post-apocalyptic future.
It's spinoff is kind of a loose. Yeah.
I saw the trailer for it or read the premise, and I just kind of went, "What? That I've never seen somebody spin off a sitcom in such a way that I haven't watched it yet, but it's on my to watch pile. My to watch pile, a stack of TVs.
Sure, absolutely. DVDs or VCRs, you've got them stacked up that way. You just take one and plug it in, and it's got what you want on it. And yeah,
that's like, since you're watching some Star Trek stuff, did you watch Picard? Any of the seasons of Picard?
No.
I think I watched seasons 1 and 2, but they have their data pads, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Picard will be in his office, and they'll come and they'll hand him a data pad. He's holding a data pad. They'll bring him a data pad. He'll take the data pad he has, and he puts it on a stack of other data pads. Mm-hmm. It's like, so obviously they don't have wireless in this future. It's like books. It's like ebooks, but
wouldn't they have a main terminal, and they could just send it to the? If you look, we just sent. Okay, and. Yeah, no,
like
it's always
somebody bringing him the new data pads. And we've got the new data here. I'll just broop there.
Or whatever. Yeah, it's like.
But he has like a stack of them on his desk. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. What kind of future is this?
They have to try to keep those connections with things we can understand, because we're all so simple.
Yeah,
it's
crazy. All right. Anything else you want to banter about?
No, I think I'm good.
I'll mention to everybody, before we get into this issue, this is the final issue of Kitty Pryde and Wolverine. That means we are ending season 1 with this episode, which means there's going to be a season 2. We have yet to announce what we're going to talk about on season 2. It's going to be another storyline. It's going to cover a whole season. That's the whole thing here we're doing. But if you stick around to the end of the show, we'll tell you what we're going to look at next time. Bill from Long Island says data pads are Android, no AirDrop. Ooh,
yeah, that's Apple. So yeah, you're kind of mixing the streams there, and yeah, you're not supposed to mix the streams.
Just thinking about all the plastic and stuff that they're.
Just all of it. I mean, yeah,
they use replicators. I mean, all that stuff comes out of replicators now, right? Or is that?
No, I imagine it does, but I mean, even that takes energy, right? Yeah. Converting energy to matter, and.
All right, let's get into this. Today, we're looking at Kitty Pryde and Wolverine number 6 from Marvel Comics. This issue sports a cover date of April 1985, though it hit the stands in January. It sold for just 75 cents, and it is entitled Honor. It was written by Chris Claremont with art by Al Milgrom. The letters were by Tom Orzechowski, and the colorist was Glynis Wein. And here's the synopsis that I wrote up. You ready?
Yep.
Wolverine and I did a Peter Brady. Time for change. Wolverine and Ogun battle to the death. Ed, what'd you think?
I thought it was a fitting summation to the story, a fitting ending, I guess. We certainly had appearances by every principal character that has been in the series here in the final issue, which I don't know was necessary other than to bring everybody back in and tie their stories up. Although most of the other stories really weren't a big deal. I do like looking at the final cover. I like that every cover had two. It had a half or a break or a split or something, and they kept that motif for every cover.
Yeah.
And I like that. This one has Ogun on the left and Wolverine on the right, and they're fighting. And in between them, kind of ghosting, so she isn't hurt, is Kitty Pryde. Um, I don't know what this. I guess maybe this is reminiscent of the very, very final scene in the book, because Kitty looks surprised by Wolverine.
Yeah.
So she hasn't dropped in to help Wolverine. She hasn't dropped in to try to fight Ogun. She hasn't dropped in to help Wolverine. It's like she seems surprised. So the question in my mind comes, well, in this particular panel, why is she there? What is going on? And the only really resemblance to the story is a scene, the final action scene of the series of the book. So I guess maybe that's what it is. It's an homage to that scene that occurred there.
And if you want to, this again, coming from somebody who cannot, usually does not read deeper into things, doesn't see the meta. But I look at this and you could say this is a metaphor for not only are Logan and Ogun fighting over the life of Kitty Pryde, they're fighting so hard that they're fighting through her to save her, or he's going to save her.
I guess I could see that.
Also, it didn't dawn on me until just yesterday. If you pronounced Ogun the way Shogun is pronounced, then Ogun and Logan would run.
This is true. Yeah, I don't know that I ever thought of that either. Yeah,
I did, yeah. You want to? Well, let me just say my initial thoughts. This is, of course, what do we say? January 1985. I would have been 12 when this came out. So This was the issue that my 12-year-old brain was waiting for. 12-year-old me loved everything up to this point, and then this issue just skyrocketed it into outer space because we get to see Wolverine throwing down. Granted, the fight scenes aren't, some of them are, Al Milgrom is really good at choreographing fight scenes and the mechanics. Sometimes his execution though of movements isn't always the best, but yeah, that's my thoughts. You want to take us into this sucker, dive us deep?
Let's go. First page, it's a single panel page. On the right hand side is the taking up, I don't know, maybe 20% of the page from top to bottom is the title of the story. This particular chapter, I guess we could say, of the story. So we get that. And then this is, for a while, we have seen, I think, this is one of the cooler panels that we have had. Kitty and Ogun are fighting. It is the final battle. It started last issue. She is fighting for her soul. Ogun actually is fighting for her soul also. But more importantly, he wants her body. I don't know if we've actually said this or not, but I believe that ultimately what was happening is Ogun was wanting to displace Kitty's soul so that he could push his soul into her body. And between having her body and his knowledge and abilities, he would be the ultimate. He would be a prime, not example, but a living prime of what he wanted to be. Now, I don't know if living in her body would have extended his life or anything like that necessarily. I don't know. But having access to her powers, which he thought would go along with having her body, my argument is the powers would go with the soul because it's anyways. I think if the soul was displaced, the body would just be flesh. I don't think that the body, for any particular mutation, which I know it sounds kind of weird, but I think it's more tied to the soul than it is tied to the physical body. But
Ed's getting very philosophical here.
Yeah, really. After telling people to fight me because they played a stupid song in a movie.
I don't mean to laugh at you when you. I love feisty Ed. Feisty. Ed.
That's fun. I don't get passionate outwardly about very many things, but there are just a handful of things, and I'm like, no, you can't do that. That's all. So they're fighting Kitty to protect herself, Ogun to get her. And in the midst of this, Wolverine appears to, well, I don't know, to fight Ogun. Yes. To help Kitty. Yes. To help himself. Yes. So, I mean, he's, he has been tied into this story in multiple ways, but it's on a rooftop for those of you that can see. For those of you that can't, Wolverine is on, he's on the ledge of a rooftop. I know that has the parapet, or I'm not sure what that.
I don't know what they're called.
Raised portion of city rooftops are. We always see them because people always hopping over them to jump off the roof. There, whatever that 2 or 3 foot wall is. Wolverine's standing on top of that, doing something that you're not allowed to do in Marvel Comics anymore, and that's smoking. He's got some cigarette or some cheroot in his mouth, and he's puffing away, and the smoke is going up into the night. He is shadowed because he is not facing our light source. The light source is the full moon behind him that is shining and casting his full shadow on the rooftop, extending to where Ogun and Kitty are fighting. And it's just, I thought it was very dramatic. So much so that the way this is set up, I could honestly see these two people that are fighting for their lives probably would stop to see what this big shadow is that has just cast across everywhere that they're fighting.
Real quick, I looked it up. That wall is called a parapet.
Parapet. Okay. I don't know. I guess I thought maybe that was something a little bit more specific, but
do you get a Western vibe at all from this?
Not initially, but I mean, I guess I could now that you have said that. If I kind of tune my brain to the Western wavelengths a little bit, I can kind of see and of course, if it's a Western vibe and there's some kind of showdown, you hear
exactly. That's what
that exactly. Is the sound that automatically,
That's what I was going to say, because when I look at this, I hear.
Yep, I could see that
wah, wah.
Without a doubt. That would,
Yep.
And who knows? That could be part of the feeling that they wanted to write into this, and so that kind of dictates partially the scene here. So and actually, what is that? Is that specifically from a Clint Eastwood movie?
I think it's from one of the Man with No Name trilogy of spaghetti.
And he was always smoking too, wasn't he?
I think so.
Didn't he smoke a lot? Yeah. So that would be So the Man with No Name.
It's that's what they call a series. It's like a loose. I don't think they tie together, but The Good, the Bad, the Ugly is what Bill from.
Yes. Yeah. That's okay. Yeah. That's it.
So The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and then 2 others they call them
3 movies: spaghetti westerns, Clint Eastwood. Yeah.
Apparently, you don't get his name. They don't mention his name in any of them, so they call
it. Is that the name of one of the movies, The Man with No Name?
I don't know, but they did make a comic book 20 years ago, maybe. Western Dynamite? Based off of the character, and I think they called the comic book The Man with No Name.
Okay. Yeah, maybe that's the loose, like, these 3 movies fall under that kind of loose name. Or it could be that it was officially one of the names. I've heard it before, but I don't know why.
I'm going to look it up. It's like, I've always thought that it was like the 3 movies that the Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and World's End are called the Cornetto trilogy.
Right.
So I'm going to look it up.
Okay. So Ogun and Kitty are fighting here on the rooftop, and Wolverine comes in, and they stop so that everybody can converse. And there's a cute little story here. It comes up again a little bit later in the final issue about 2 samurai, and I have heard this before, maybe from Wolverine's point of view, but when samurai meet, they will judge the worthiness of their opponent with a stare. They will look into their opponent, and somehow the lesser, just by staring, knows that he's the lesser, and will stand aside and let the greater pass if they're at some sort of impasse. I'm like,
he told the story in what, issue 2, maybe issue 3.
And I think I've heard it before that though.
Yeah.
So I don't know if but yeah, I'm like, if I'm conceited enough that I'm going to do this and I'm blocking a man, I don't know that anyways, it's like, it's a story. So who knows if that's, and this story, they really tried to make it seem a big deal because it was Ogun was one of the samurai in the story. And the other was Miyamoto Musashi, who is the greatest swordsman ever on record in this era of Japan. He purposefully hunted down people to fight in hopes of beating them and improving himself. That was all he was about, was improving his swordsmanship. He won like 60 some one-on-one duels across his lifetime. No one else recorded has ever come even close to that, which of course, after you lose a duel, I guess you're not really going to duel too much more after that. Yeah. So it's,
history is always written by the victors,
by the winner. That's right. So, they didn't pick just another samurai. The story is like, no, the greatest samurai ever, as far as swordsmanship goes, met his match in Ogun, who is, this dude that we have known for 6 issues. And yeah. So I was like, yeah, okay. I see what you're doing there. Because as he is telling the story, as he is telling it, or as we are being related it by the narrator no, I guess it is Wolverine who is the narrator. Okay. I was going to say, I don't think I was able to tell, but it looks like Wolverine by the way it's written. I guess they are standing there looking at each other as he is telling this story.
Yeah. It's like they're doing the same thing.
Right.
That is going on with the story.
And so go ahead. Yes.
I was just going to say, the man with no name, according to Wikipedia, is a character portrayed by Clint Eastwood in Sergio Leone's Dollars trilogy, which is Fistful of Dollars, For a Few Dollars More, and The Good and the Bad and the Ugly.
Okay. And
Fistful of Dollars, the first one, is directly adapted from Akira Kurosawa's Yojimbo.
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of cross-pollination between 50s and 60s Japanese cinema and Western cinema, wherever it may be from. If it's American, these I think were truly Italian movies.
Yeah,
and they were
that's why they're called spaghetti westerns.
Yep. Yeah, they were got to be big over here, but yeah, they I don't know how much on the backside Americans were involved as far as money or anything like that. But I do know they were shot in Italy. They were intended for an Italian audience.
Yep.
So, but yeah, a lot of cross-pollination between a lot of the Japanese samurai movies of, say, the 70s, maybe middle to late 60s, and Western movies from wherever in the world they were made.
Magnificent Seven immediately springs to mind.
Absolutely. And if you have... And see, if somebody tells you, it gives it away. I mean, but if you have seen one movie and you have seen the other, whichever is the second movie you're watching, you can see the connectors between them if you have been exposed. I mean, if somebody tells you, oh, but this is based on that, well, then you're looking for it when you're watching, and it's not. But there are those lines, those through threads that you can see.
Well, you've seen the movie Airplane, right?
Yes.
Have you seen the Airport movies?
Are those the ones with Leslie Nielsen?
No. Airport was the first one. It was a legitimate disaster movie from the 70s. And it's one of the movies that Airplane is basically making fun of. Okay,
so Airplane is the spoof.
Yeah.
Airport is the... it's serious. It's okay.
Yeah, one of many, I guess, airplane disaster movies that they play. But I, grew up watching Airplane, and my wife a number of years back talked me into watching Airport, and then I think Airport 75 was the second one, and I couldn't take them seriously at all because they reminded me so much of Airplane.
Right.
So
yeah, no, I think I've only seen the Airplane movies. I thought that I had seen a lot of those 70 disaster movies. I saw Towering Inferno, and I saw the one on the big ocean liner. Yeah. But Airport just doesn't ring a bell. So maybe I never saw those. So, a gap in my movie watching, which
we all have them. I've never seen any of the Godfather movies and never will.
I've seen one. That's so, yeah. I will make you an offer. Yeah.
I got nothing against him, but at this point in my life, it's like, I'm just not going to watch him.
Oh, I don't know if you know, Steven, Bill, if you know, say something. Mario Puzo, who wrote the novels, wrote the screenplay for one or all of the Godfather movies. He wrote the screenplay for something off the wall geek related too.
Yes.
What was the movie that he did? Highland? Was it? It wasn't Highlander.
It might have been Conan, one of the Conan.
Maybe.
Let me look.
Yeah, and I always find that interesting when I run into that again. And I have read the Godfather novel, actually, the first one.
See, and they made like a TV show, a limited series TV show, or a movie for Prime or something that's about them using his book to try to make that first movie, and how the mob got kind of involved and stuff. And I really want to see that, but I just, at this point, I'm not.
Superman, the first Superman movie.
That's
with Christopher Reeves. Yeah. Because it's like,
right.
What?
Thank you, Bill,
the dude that wrote The Godfather. Yeah. That always blows my mind that he was involved in the Superman movie franchise. Yeah. I guess because at the time he was so big, I mean, that'd be like, I don't know, asking Steven Spielberg to write a comedy that's got Ryan Reynolds in it or something. It's like, why in the world would
Steven Spielberg did do 1941 back in the 80s?
Yes, he did.
It's like one of the only comedies he ever did, and unfortunately, it didn't do well. And
I was going to say, if you've seen 1941, you see why it was one of the few comedies he ever did.
Yeah, I always enjoyed it.
He is not, and I'll have to say also, it was not John Belushi's forte either, whether it was his acting or the material he had to use or whatever. But just the whole thing from top to bottom was not.
Yeah, I watched it recently, and it does feel like just a series of bits that they put together into
it's not
and with John Belushi, it's like, okay, let's get him in the cockpit, let's turn on the camera, all right, just be you. And just let him go.
And the difficult part is, if you have watched that movie, if you have seen the Blues Brothers before 1941. Now, if you watch it after, you're like, maybe, I like Blues Brothers better. It was, but if you watch that and then 1941, no, 1941 is, which I just watched Blues Brothers a couple weekends ago, my wife and I. That is top five movies, Blues Brothers.
Classic.
It is, yeah. And what really interested me, I went down a rabbit hole after the movie, is how intentional they were with the stylings and everything of the movie, so that they could incorporate those vast number of musicians that they got to be in that movie. I was just like,
and Steven Spielberg makes a cameo in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's a lot of people in that movie when you go digging through it.
Hell yeah.
I guess just to be able to say, I was in this movie, and then it blew up, and now they can say, I was in Blues Brothers. That's it, so.
Blues Brothers 2000, on the other hand.
No.
Just forget that movie was ever made. Watch Blues Brothers once a year, and you'll live the rest of your days in happiness.
And if you get some of their albums, the Blues Brothers albums, if at all you enjoy the music at all, if you don't enjoy the music, that's fine. Don't do it, because it'll just be torture. But the Blues Brothers, the soundtrack, and then as a group, they recorded and released and toured several albums after that, and it was, whatever. For those of you that don't know, the Blues Brothers is based on a skit that first appeared on Saturday Night Live, which again, it's like, what? How any skit on SNL? How do you make a movie out of that? Well.
Bill
They did.
points out the album Briefcase Full of Blues is his
Yes.
favorite album. That's
Yes.
exactly the one I was going to recommend.
Oh man, yeah. If you would all like the music bluesy, Chicago bluesy, not too much Memphis Southern bluesy, but the Chicago Midwestern kind of bluesy from the 60s or so. Oh,
well, and and we're really going on a tangent on this one, but that's fine. That's what we do. But I think that's people who are only peripherally aware of the Blues Brothers. I think a lot of them don't understand that they were a real band. They played music, they sang, they were not lip syncing. That was, the Paul Schaefer band at Saturday Night Live. Paul Schaefer just wasn't in the movie.
Right.
But yeah, that's Briefcase Full of Blues has like it's mostly live stuff, but it all sounds great. And then I think it's kind of is that the one that's a compilation that also has some of the recorded stuff from the movie that they did? I
don't remember if that was Briefcase that did that, or if I would have to see where Briefcase falls in the order of albums released.
Yeah. But it's good stuff, right?
Oh yeah. I could talk ad nauseum. Plus two, the square, which the name is completely leaving me, that they went to at the end of the movie, that's where my birth certificate is because I was born in Cook County Hospital.
Yeah.
And that plaza, Daly Plaza, is where the records are for the county. So my birth certificate is in that building.
I know I've mentioned this before on one of our shows. Bill from Long Island, by the way, says that he thinks that Briefcase Full of Blues
is all live.
Okay. So I've owned 2 of their CDs. That was one. The other one must've been like a best of type of thing.
Best of, or maybe the actual soundtrack of the movie.
It wasn't the soundtrack to the movie, but, I've mentioned this before on various shows, and I know I've mentioned it every time we talk about Blues Brothers, but one of the 2 or 3 times I went to Chicago for a convention, we went downtown and we went to the Cook County Courthouse. The whole area, the whole square was surrounded by a big fence because they were doing some
repairs or work or whatever.
But like an old Looney Tunes cartoon, I was able to go up to the fence and look through a knothole. And I'm like, there it is. That's where they drove the car across the courtyard.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's an awesome movie. For those of you that have never seen it and you enjoy musicals, because by and large it's a musical.
But it's not like one of those musicals where it's like they get up in the morning and go, it's time to greet the day.
It's not an Oklahoma or a South Seas or one of those 60s musical. It's hard to explain. There's probably 6 songs in it, maybe 7 songs. I mean,
and they're all just good. It's a great movie, and it's funny as hell. It's got the single greatest car chase scene ever, in both the first one through the mall and then the ending car chase that ends up at the Cook County Courthouse.
Yep.
So many police cars damaged in that.
Yep. Probably more police cars than Sylvester Stallone killed people in Cobra. And there's kind of a deep dive if anybody has ever seen the movie Cobra. Marion Cobretti, I believe, was the actor. But there were people going down right and left in that movie. It was Punisher-esque before the Punisher. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Alrighty. Back to the comic here. Wolverine and Ogun have stared each other down, and now they do the anime thing that they make fun of, and they charge each other. I could almost see one of them running with their arm back behind them like they do in the anime, or however that is with the one in front. Yeah. Anime fans will know the move I'm talking about. It's iconic, and it's in every anime somewhere. And so they rush each other and they attack. And I thought by and large they were going to be pretty evenly matched, but Wolverine, as we're going panel by page, is saying how they're not. How Ogun is the superior whatever. He is the better fighter. He's the better tactician. He's the better whatever.
Bill from Long Island says the previous page
Oh,
close-ups are very spaghetti western. Yeah.
where they're staring at each other over the bridge. Bill, is that the page you mean? Which there is a panel here that I also want to ask. The one up from the bottom set of panels, the two in the middle. I would almost swear that those two guys do not have their eyes open to be staring at each other.
Yeah.
But the one on the left, you do see kind of circles off to the right-hand side of the slit that is. So I'm like, okay. But look, Wolverine and Ogun, they have their eyes open. They are staring at each other. Yeah. These dudes in the middle, I'm like, their eyes are closed. Who knows what they're doing? They're praying to their gods, or I don't know.
Yeah, there's a scene in one of those three spaghetti westerns where it's like Clint Eastwood and two other guys, and it must be The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, because I can hear that. And it's just they're doing these close-ups on their eyes on each one, you know. So yeah, that's very much.
The Outlaw Josie Wales. That was one of my dad's favorite movies.
I enjoyed that one
when he was alive. So yeah,
I think that's the movie where his line, he gets in a scuffle with somebody or he shoots him. You're gonna do something, boy. You're just gonna stand there and bleed.
Yep. He spits on the guy and says, "How is it with stains?" when he's selling it. Yeah,
that's good stuff.
That same movie. So the next couple pages, unless there's something that you want to point out specifically, Ogun and Wolverine are fighting. Ultimately, Ogun gets the upper hand on Wolverine, and Wolverine leaves. He retreats, not necessarily out of defeat per se, but because he knows that ultimately the fight will end in his defeat, and defeat in such a way that he won't be able to help Kitty. So he has to extricate himself from that, gather his wits, come up with a better plan, because the one-on-one fighting is not going to work out the way he wanted it to work out. Exactly. So if he's going to be of help, he has to leave this battle to reassess, and he'll come back at a later date.
And it's just before he comes to that realization is when Ogun draws first blood.
Yes, which, I mean, unless the sword is poisoned, which I wouldn't necessarily think Ogun would do that. But to Wolverine, it's a splinter. I mean, at this point in Wolverine's career, this is the Wolverine that can completely restructure a body from one blood cell. That's this Wolverine. So
his healing is a bit slower at this time, though, than it will become.
Right.
So something like this might take, I don't know. Nowadays, it would heal up right away. Just heal right up. But I feel like back then,
I would say a couple hours. 10, I mean, 50, it's not going to be like days that he's going to recoup or anything like that.
Right.
Although we should say that because of recent occurrences in the X-Men, his body is taxed right now. It has done a lot of work leading up to this. So he may be even slower than normal. Plus, you throw in whatever mysticism you want because of Ogun, and so maybe Wolverine will suffer a little bit in his healings right now, and it wouldn't be like the superhero normally would for him.
Yeah.
So Wolverine jumps off the building. Essentially, I don't know where he went. Ogun jumped off the building after him, both of which surprised Kitty because she's standing back a little bit watching them fight. And she runs to whatever, to see where they went or to see what's going on or to see. She runs to the edge of the building and looks over, and they're both gone. So I don't. Ogun, maybe he poofed off somewhere. He is kind of weirdness. We've found out Wolverine isn't. So I don't know where Wolverine went. Maybe he, I don't know, swung into one of the open windows or so. Who knows? But he managed to disappear too.
Wolverine was doing parkour before parkour was a thing.
There you go. And he was doing it in Japan, I think. I think that's where this is. Tokyo. So far we've seen Wolverine, Kitty, and Ogun in the story. Now we start to see everybody else that has played a part in the story start showing up.
Got to wrap it all up, man.
I guess, yeah. So somehow they tracked Wolverine because he was the last person to arrive at this building. Yeah. A car comes screeching up, And it turns out to be Yukio and Carmen Pryde, Kitty's dad, who is the cause of everything that has happened. Not the cause, the fuse, maybe, of everything that has happened since the beginning of the story. He's following Wolverine because he wants to know what's happening to his daughter. Yukio is following Wolverine because she wants to know what's happening with Wolverine. And so she also, I think, told Wolverine earlier on that she would watch over Carmen and make sure that nothing else happened to him.
Yeah.
Enough has already happened to him as it is. So they arrive at this building. Now, last issue, I think it was, Ogun started everything in this building by trying to attack Mariko. Kitty was aware that that was going to happen, and so she went to this building to try to stop Ogun, and so that was what led to their confrontation here. Wolverine arriving just because he's looking for one or the other of them anyways. So in escaping Ogun, Lady Mariko is running with her adopted daughter Akiko, running into Yukio and Carmen down on ground level. Catches everybody up with what they do know, which nobody really has the full story. They just know but they just know from their perspective what has happened or what they have heard the Wolverine or Kitty say or something like that. So nobody has the full story. It kind of comes together by everybody meeting and talking. And so in doing that, the reader of the book kind of quickly catches up on what the main story is by the meeting of all of these characters.
Yeah.
In the midst of which, probably at the time a pretty fly kind of sports car. I'm not a car aficionado. I don't recognize what it is. That Yukio has is missiled. A missile comes flying from off panel and blows it up, which if you're reading the story, that kind of has no semblance to anything else that has gone on in the story. There is no running gun battles, missiles, rocket launchers. That's not what the story has been about. But here all of a sudden it is, because Ogun's enforcer, Shumai, who we saw, I don't know, maybe in the second issue, maybe in the first issue, has been told by Ogun to take care of Yukio. Mm-hmm. So Shumai now has caught up with Yukio and blew up her car, hoping that she was killed in it, or maybe just making it tougher so she could get away or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know where he got the munition. Don't know where he carried it. Don't know nothing. He just, the car is bombed, right? And then a couple panels later, he just shows up, walking dramatically through the wreckage, right? It's one of those scenes, I think, where you see nothing, and then through the flame and the smoke appears this big bulk of a dude, and turns out to be Shumai, and he essentially challenges Yukio, tells her, "I'm here for you." Probably with some kind of accent, I'd say.
Yeah. He says, "It gladdens me that my little rocket did no harm," which is the only reference to he's the one that launched the rocket.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen him at least holding a bazooka of some sort or a shoulder-mounted rocket thing, but whatever.
Plus, too, if we want to pick at those nits, this rocket comes from high and strikes low, right?
Yeah.
Downward trajectory. Well, when we see him, he's walking at street level.
Yeah.
So, initially he was several stories up. We don't know how many stories, firing the rocket launcher. And then all of a sudden he's down at street level. And I'm like, yeah. So maybe somebody else in the entourage fired that and he was already on street level maybe that's what happened.
Makes you almost wonder if he's got some kind of weird mutant abilities that they're alluding to, but never disclose. And maybe Chris Claremont had plans for this guy at some point in the future and just,
I don't know. I don't remember ever seeing the name Shumai. Reminds me of some kind of Chinese or Japanese dish name or something. Shumai.
Maybe it just never came out to anything, That's what I'm going to pretend.
That's your headcanon. Gotcha. Steven says he is shipping Yumai. No, he's not shipping him.
shipping Shumai with himself. So he will be
I think
called
that's
Shumai.
Shumai squared.
Shumai squared.
E-I-E-I-O. Okay. So now
Bill from Long Island has a comment here. He says, rocket launcher is remote. He launched from a separate control location.
Okay.
All right. Bill from Long Island wins the no prize.
Yep. We have certainly seen that in other media where it will be set up and the actual perpetrator will be over here. And nothing better to throw you off than being over here, but shooting from over there. That's makes it hard to track.
That's right.
This next page is full of dialogue. It's lots of dialogue. Now, I do like the big vertical panel in there. Certainly with what is occurring, it was needed. It's not a stretch that they would have used a vertical panel, but I just like it to break up the, though being a fan of that 9-panel consistent grid, if you break it up this way, that's okay. I'm not a fan of the borderless panels or the overlapping art or the overlapping panels or things like that. It just, but something like this, because of what happens, Kitty decides that she is going to go down to street level because it's 50, 60 stories up, however high up. She can see down there and she can tell who those people are.
Yeah.
Seems kind of a stretch for me, but okay. Maybe she recognized the car. I don't know. But the people I was up here on the roof with are gone. So there's no reason for me to be up here. But the people down on the ground, I recognize, so I'm going to go down on the ground.
Yeah.
Well, as Shadowcat, she's able to do that. She can airwalk, phase, and lower herself. The physics or whatever, I don't know exactly, but she tries to do that. But because of her recent injuries, the concentrating on her powers taxes her a little bit more than she thought, and so she ends up just she phases through the. What did you say the wall was called?
The parapet.
Parapet. She phases through that, but as soon as she takes a step, she is regular, unfazed or regular cohesion, whatever you want to call that. So she just 32 feet per second squared. She just poof. And at some point down, she realizes, okay, wait, oh no, here she says 60 stories. Yeah. So that's 10 feet a story, roughly 600 feet. So, so she's like, it's 60 stories down. I'm falling now. Don't panic. If I just concentrate enough, I'll be able to get myself back, which all makes sense. Yeah. It's funny to think that is going through her head when, her first step was just as a regular person and she's just falling. So,
yeah, I do like in the vertical panel. I'm not one to typically notice or point out word balloons and text, but the way because as she steps, basically before we get to that vertical panel, she's talking to herself in her head. Her internal dialogue is saying, I'm still groggy. I don't know if my powers are going to work. And so she goes to the parapet. She's able to phase through. So she's like, okay, I can phase through. And then she steps off the building and she's thinking to herself, now, if I can only air, and that's when she falls, and that turns into her screaming out loud. Whoa!
Yeah,
she's falling, and the balloon follows her down, so it's like stretched out. It's again, I'm not one to notice stuff like that. Which if you're a good letterer, really, your letters shouldn't stand out except for in moments like this when they're part of the action, which is what this is.
And it goes from a thought to a verbal, and then it goes from a normal to a fall, and it goes from a normal level to an exclamation because of the size of the I mean, you can see all of that in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words, and the way that the word balloon is drawn.
It just that alone does a really good job of making you feel like now she's plummeting at however many feet per second, which is what
32 feet per second squared. Yep. Which
one of these days I'm going to remember that.
For those of you that don't know, to me it's just an interesting fact.
Yeah.
The gravitational pull given everything else normal. 32 feet per second squared means that for every second you fall double the previous distance you fell. So your first second you fall 32 feet. By the end of the second, okay, you have fallen an additional 64 feet. At the end of the third second, you have fallen an additional 128 feet, et cetera, until you squish. And actually, maybe mathematically there is an end point. I don't know if there is I guess if you were to keep going, you ultimately would reach escape velocity and be able to leave the atmosphere because you're going fast enough. Yeah. But otherwise, I don't know that there's a situation where you would be able to test that without hitting something. So ultimately, you
hit that where you're now falling at a set rate of
this is as fast
600,000 feet per second or something.
Yeah, I've never checked into that mathematically if that is possible, if that's what happens. But I've always just found it fascinating that it's to me it's an easy concept. 32 feet per second squared sounds kind of complicated if you're not a math person. But just think, every second the amount of distance you have covered doubles. So as you fall. So that's So in 10 seconds, boy, you are moving out. if you are high enough to fall 10 seconds,
I'm going to assume that the building is 600 feet tall.
600 feet.
I'm going to do the math here.
Oh, okay. To see how long it would take her to fall.
Yeah, it'd take about 5 seconds, 5 point something seconds, basically, for her to hit.
There you go. Oh, and recently I read something that completely debunked something that I had always thought.
Okay.
There's a wives' tale or what have you, that if you're at the top of like the Empire State Building and you took a penny and you flipped it off and say it hit a person, right? It would like flatten the person. It would have some, and the truth is no, that apparently that's not what would happen. They would be injured. Even, I thought, well, no, that's not what would happen. What would happen is it would become like a bullet and it would just right through them. Apparently that's not what would happen either. So I'm like, oh, well, that takes all the romance out of all of that then.
Phil from Long Island says wind resistance due to the shape and size would eventually limit top velocity.
There we go.
Terminal velocity. Okay.
So those issues could mean that you would max out given enough distance. There would be a top acceleration that you would hit because of wind resistance and terminal velocity. Which I would suggest that if you're falling, any velocity is terminal velocity. But no, I know what you mean by terminal velocity. It's like, unless you stop, all velocity is terminal. Yeah, a little physics joke. Thank you.
The terminal velocity of a human in a standard belly to earth skydiving position is about 120 miles per hour.
Okay. Now, there is plenty of resistance there, we know, because of the outfits they wear and what have you, and because you flatten out with your arms out and all that, so you affect all that.
Says it takes about 10 to 12 seconds to reach that speed, or roughly 1,000 to 1,800 feet of fall.
Okay, there we go, 10 to 12 seconds, okay.
Thank you, Internet.
So that's how far you would have to be able to fall before you got going as fast as you would go. So this 600 feet is certainly not within that distance. So
she hit the pavement before she reached terminal velocity.
Hit the bottom before she bottoms out. Yep. Okay. So she finds suddenly that she can't phase. She starts falling. Takes a moment. Ohms and collects herself and realizes, I can do this. And so she does. Right before essentially she would hit the ground, she regains her ability to phase. Phases right through Shumai in his fight with Yukio and kind of course, throws him off. I mean,
Well, I believe what's happening there is he is shitting his pants.
Okay, sure. And she still has enough of the velocity that she goes through him and into the ground, even though she's phased. So she has maintained that much weight, I guess. I find it interesting though, if she's able to phase, wouldn't it suspend gravity's ability, and so she wouldn't
I don't know.
continue the motion, or whatever. I don't know. I
It
think
slows her down enough that I don't know. Yeah,
maybe that really shows that she regained the ability to phase right at the end, because
right at the last moment. Yeah,
she was able to keep going with the momentum. So phases into the ground, throws Shumai off, gives Yukio a free shot or two, as Shumai is trying to regain himself. Now everybody who is here, because Wolverine and Ogun have disappeared, everybody that's in the story is now on ground level. So we see Carmen and Yukio, Carmen and Kiko and Lady Mariko trying to get away from everything. They're all the non-fighters, right? So they're trying to retreat somewhere that's safe. Yukio and Kitty Pryde are fighting Shumai. Yukio in hand-to-hand. Kitty phases back up from the ground to assess the fight. But Yukio says, no, that's okay. I don't need your help. I got this. And at this point, does she defeat him? Does he come back? Yeah, I guess that's the end of it. She defeats him. That fight's over. Kitty, after having just tried it unsuccessfully, decides that she is going to airwalk again. Only this time she's going to go in search of Ogun and Wolverine. I don't know if she necessarily, it doesn't tell us where she's going or why she has to airwalk or whatever. I don't know why she's doing that. If she doesn't know where they are, wouldn't she just start running around on the ground or something? I don't know. Maybe a better perspective in the air. I don't know what she's doing.
And the weird thing about this page is, so at the top, we have her dad, Carmen, who says, "My Lord, Kitty, I thought you were dead for sure. How could anyone survive a fall like that?" So I had asked when we started with episode 1, with issue 1, I had asked you, does he know that she has these mutant powers? And no, he doesn't. And it's obvious here that he doesn't. But at the bottom of the page, she goes airwalking off, and his only reaction is, her only reaction is, "Kitty, wait, where are you going?" She tells him that she's got unfinished business. "No, haven't you learned yet? You don't have a prayer against Ogun." And he's watching her walk up into the air, and he's apparently so concerned over the fact that she's heading into danger, maybe, that he doesn't. Do they mention it at all by the end of the issue? I don't remember.
Mention what?
That he just watched her using her powers.
I don't think so. I think it's just a case of, I didn't know my child could do that until I saw them do that, and so now I know. Maybe I don't understand, but I know they can do something that's kind of weird. I
would have really liked even just how are you doing that?
Something to
not right now, Dad. I've got to go. We'll talk about it later.
All right. Next, we find ourselves in the middle of one of the eponymous. I don't know if they're still eponymous, but I do know in popular culture, once upon a time, that pachinko parlors were said, and maybe they actually were, to be everywhere in Japan. You couldn't, kind of like, I don't know what the equivalent would be here. McDonald's. They were probably even more. There were more than McDonald's over here. I don't know that we necessarily have an equivalent. Or I do. Used car lots. That's the equivalent here in the U.S.
Okay.
Man. Or no offense to anybody, churches.
Yeah.
Where I live, those two things, I can go just about anywhere and do a 360 and see more than one of both. I can go just about anywhere.
The town I grew up in, Eudora, Kansas, has a street called Church Street, and it's because it had when I grew up, it had like 4 churches on it.
Okay. Were all of them different denominations?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sure one of them was a Methodist. Was one a Methodist?
Yep, because we went to it for a little while.
Okay. Was one a Catholic?
Yep.
Okay. And then the others were probably Baptist or Church of God, Christ, something denominations. Yeah.
Bill suggests Starbucks.
Okay. Now you say that, My town, Princeton, West Virginia, only has one Starbucks.
Does it have other coffee shops though? You
Not
can say
really.
coffee shops in general.
Not really. Now in Seattle, I could say yes, coffee shops in Seattle.
I will say in Lawrence, Kansas, the answer would be smoke shops.
Oh, smoke and vape shops.
Yeah.
Now we have several of those here. Yeah.
They just opened one in my hometown of Eudora, Kansas, and so it's maybe smoke shops will eventually be
like pachinko parlors. Yeah.
When I take Palin to work, when she's home for the summer, one of the main streets in the business district of Lawrence is 23rd Street. Just driving up 23rd Street from where I drop her off, I go like 5 blocks, and I can count on one side of the road 7 smoke shops.
Oh my goodness.
Now, granted, there might be 3 or 4, maybe 6 or 7 others in the entire town. So they're really concentrated there in that one area.
But I mean, the fact that,
and it's because, first of all, marijuana is not legal in Kansas, but it's legal in all the surrounding states.
Oh, okay.
And in Lawrence, Kansas specifically, I don't want to say they decriminalized marijuana use, but they've pretty much said
we're not going
to
enforce it
unless you're carrying a brick of marijuana. We're not going to do anything.
Yeah, right.
So smoke shops started opening up.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, it's the smoke shops here in Princeton have gotten so bad that the past 18 months or so, they've been working on a variety of ordinances to be able to place them and to control where they are. That's, and anytime you see a town start doing that, there must be a lot of whatever it is they're trying to control.
A lot and very fast.
Yeah. So that's what we're going through here.
As we get back to this page, before I forget about it, I do want to mention the handgun that comes into play in this issue, and how it's probably, I think Hellboy ends up using that gun.
I think so.
It's a big freaking gun.
Yeah. I think we first saw a gun like this maybe in Dirty Harry in the movies. But yeah, Hellboy certainly takes the large firearm and runs with it, because it looks, at times it looks normal, but mostly it does not. It looks just too big.
The proportions are way off. Bill from Long Island says, the odor of cannabis is everywhere in New York on roads while driving all over Manhattan. I bet. I remember the Saturday Night Live that aired the Saturday after it became legal in New York, because Tommy David, what's that guy's name? Pete Davidson did a whole thing about it.
PD or PP or whatever he's being called now, according to that commercial.
I don't know. No, I haven't seen that. Bill.
Yeah, he's in a one of the commercials where you talk to some app and it talks back, and he's deciding whether or not he wants to be referred to as Pete or Peter or whatever.
Okay.
And one of the things, she's like, "You want to be referred to as PP?"
Yeah, that's funny. Yep. Bill continues, not consistently at all times, but very widespread. I distinctly remember when I was working my second job at Walgreens, one of the 2 locations in Lawrence, Kansas, somebody coming into the store, literally walking around the entire store, carrying a lit joint the entire time.
Wow. Okay.
You got some balls right there.
That's pushing it there.
Yeah.
Okay. So we catch up with ultimately Ogun and Wolverine, but the very first panel we see, we're going to do that in a pachinko parlor. Wolverine comes slamming through the window with Ogun close behind, which means when we left them, there was some separation between them. Now, apparently, there is not. Ogun has caught up with Wolverine, throwing him all over town or what have you. They go into a pachinko parlor, and the proprietor pulls out a handgun that is as big as his head, very literally.
Bill from Long Island says a lit joint in public is commonplace here.
Yeah. And just to get it out there, I don't care. What you do in your house, just be prepared that if it's something in my house that I don't like, I'll let you know. But otherwise, it's like,
If anybody who goes into somebody else's house and lights up without asking them first,
that's
they're back outside. They're not coming back over.
That's a problem. That's a lack of respect that you can't beat into somebody. So, so yes, the man pulls out. We're told it's a 44 Magnum, which I've seen 44 Magnums. I used to read about a character in novels named Mac Bolan that carried a 44 Magnum. He compared it to being a handheld rifle, actually, is what the proprietor has. And he starts to pull it out, but Ogun takes it away from him. Oh, Bill says he agrees with my sentiment. Yeah, I just, I have a hard enough time controlling what happens in my four walls, much less to worry about, so.
I'll just say this. I've seen this meme a lot. You get four people together and you get them drunk, there's going to be a fight. You get four people together and you get them high, they're going to start a band.
There is not going to be a fight. Not in any of my experience in 58 years. That is not what happens when, So, so if you're against marijuana consumption, you support that against it however you want to. It's not something I do, but I've never been convinced that it's this big horrible thing, particularly in comparison to other things that people can put in their body. So I'm like, not a hill that I'm going to put a flag in. Marijuana, it's not. Yeah, you're going to start a band. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Amen. Yeah. Anyways, anytime I talk about marijuana, I think of Cheech and Chong. I grew up with Cheech and Chong. They were, So.
See, that's another, because I grew up watching, because I've seen the Corsican Brothers, and of course they were both in Yellowbeard,
right?
But I think it was a long time before I saw anything like Up in Smoke or.
Well, and those, I mean, those were made probably in the Cheech and Chong, probably the late 60s through the maybe late 70s. Yeah. And then after that, they were just, they were not a thing. I mean, It was, everybody, I guess, that really dug them had grown up and moved on to other things or what have you. So they weren't around to continue to be introduced to younger generations. It wasn't that kind of humor. It was a very specific at the time for a very specific group of people. And then as those people aged out, it was like, yeah, okay, it's not funny anymore.
Yeah.
Now we freaking have wrestling families or groups that is their gimmick, is that supposedly they sit around token all day long. AEW has a trio that anytime anybody goes to talk to them or whatever, they go into the locker room and it's like, London in the foggiest of days. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I see. And that's it. You see that. But when they come out to wrestle or whatever, they kind of affect that culture, as far as how they speak and everything, but they don't, it doesn't go beyond that. So it's kind of a wink and nod that if and they don't beat you over the head with it, so it's even nowadays, as far as I can tell, it's still around. I'm sure there are characters in movies and whatever that they do the same thing, but I don't watch younger people movies. Yeah. Except Masters of the Universe, which was written by a junior high fever dream kind of yuck thing, and it's not my bag.
I did buy one Cheech and Chong album or CD, specifically for their song "Earache in My Eye."
Okay.
Mama talking to me, try to tell me how to live. I love that
song. Okay. So Ogun is running around a pachinko parlor trying to shoot Wolverine with a 44 Magnum. It's not working out too well until Wolverine feels that he has the jump on Ogun and leaps out at him, at which point Ogun puts one in him.
Yeah.
Now, it only hits him in the shoulder. Wolverine does mention later on that even that is bad enough that a regular person that would have taken their shoulder off. I don't think so.
Another great panel with the use of the word boom for
Right.
the gunshot, how it makes up the panel kind of. It's really,
and it was easy for the colorist because he didn't have to color all the individual things.
That's right.
It was, gave him a panel off there for a minute.
That's the colorist got that page and they saw, no, this is what I'm talking about. We need more of panels like this.
It's, the flatter probably did most of the work on that panel. If I'm using the terms right, I don't necessarily know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to be cool.
I don't know how it worked back then.
Yeah. So, ultimately, it looks like Ogun's caught up with Wolverine, got the drop on him. To try to get away, Wolverine decides he's going to take the elevator.
That's a funny looking scene.
What? Yeah.
So get on this elevator.
Yeah, he's at a bank of elevators. He's pushed the button and is obviously waiting for the elevator.
He's going.
Ogun comes up on him.
Come on.
Hurry up. Yeah. And it's not, this isn't one of the elevators where there's like indentions nearby where they can, it's just a flat wall of elevators. Yep. So if somebody gets the draw on you, there is nowhere to go.
It's no cover at all.
No. But Ogun has exhausted the supply of ammo in that particular 44 Magnum. So he drops it and he throws some of the throwing stars that he has on him. But the elevator has arrived. It is opened. Wolverine has entered. And as the doors are closing, they provide the cover for the stars that Ogun threw at Wolverine, not able to use the firearm that he had. Wolverine's on the floor of the elevator, and we're seeing that, maybe he's starting to take a bit of a beating, and it's not the Wolverine can come back from everything that we're used to. He's starting to suffer a little bit.
Yep.
Ogun gets the elevator doors open and slashes the cables on the elevator, causing it to free fall. Wolverine hits the, what does he call it? Automatic stop? Emergency stop. I don't know if I've ever noticed an obvious button like that in elevators. Have you?
That's because you don't need to do it. It's the brakes automatically.
They automatically do. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was thinking, because at one point in my life, I would have been the douchebag that maybe would have hit that. So
the button is still there. Every elevator I've been on has a red button. I don't know if just anybody can push it. I don't know anymore.
Okay. How it's set up. Yeah.
Pay attention next time I'm in an elevator.
Yeah, I live in southern West Virginia. I don't get to elevators very often.
Yeah, you see them do that in movies and TV all the time, though. Let's have some sex here in this elevator. Boom.
They hit the button. They make, and it's always an extended button, right? And then they push it. Yeah. So, I don't know. And it's funny. It's like, I would think that I had paid enough attention at some point to realize, but off the top of my head, I don't know if I've. So
well, and I think that. Not only are they still there, I think if you do actually push one, not only does it stop the elevator, an alarm goes off.
Mm-hmm.
An alarm starts ringing. So you're just letting everybody know, I've stopped the elevator to have sex. That's why you're hearing the alarm.
Okay. Particularly if the elevator gets going and there's two people in it, one is a man and one is a woman. It's kind of,
living in an elevator.
Yeah. Living it up while I'm going down.
Right. I'm not going to ask us to try to harmonize on that.
What he's talking about? No, I can't harmonize. Now, if I sing, my wife can harmonize with me. I will say that. She's very good at that. She started her educational career as a music major. So she's
cool.
One of the, we met both singing in our church choir. So
you can tell her that I used to be a musician if people consider being a drummer a musician.
Oh, a drummer is very much a musician.
It's the most important.
See how difficult it is to hold down a song without a rhythm.
Right.
It's you can maybe a good bassist would be able to do it if you actually have a bassist. A lot of smaller groups, of course, they don't have a bass. They have
that's weird.
Lead singer who may or may not be able to do anything else. They got lead guitar, and then they have. I don't know, a percussionist, or they don't have typically a bassist.
Yeah, it's weird.
Gene Simmons, isn't that what he was for Kiss? Mm-hmm. He was the bassist.
Doors didn't have a bass player; they did most of the bass on the keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
Though they did add a bass player when they recorded Light My Fire, I think.
Okay. So now the elevator that Wolverine is in free fall. It looks like he is going to claw his way out and get out the bottom of the elevator, but I guess he just does that to verify that the elevator is falling, even though you can tell.
When he hits the emergency stop.
Oh, I'm sorry. He hit the stop. Okay.
Yeah, and it warps.
Well, but
the train car and causes the bottom to open up.
But even after that, he leaps out the top.
Yeah, yeah.
I would think if the bottom is that messed up, just a slice or two, and I could just drop out
right
to
through there. Yeah,
drop out to the ladder on the wall or whatever. But no, he almost falls out the bottom and then decides to go out the top to get away.
Yeah.
But either way, he does just in time, of course, because then the brakes release and the elevator falls. And it falls. How fast does it fall, Steven?
32 feet per second squared.
This is it. Top floor, everybody out. As good a place as any for a last stand. So he climbs the elevator. I guess maybe that's what he did when he got in the elevator is he hit up. That's where he was going to go ultimately. And the elevator stopped, but he continued on his journey to the top. We go back to the ground floor of the, I believe that's Mariko's office building or her family's building is where all of that first occurred.
Yep.
Yukio, Akiko, and Mariko were talking. Unless you are a follower of Wolverine's story, I don't know that this is really a big deal. It kind of sets the places a little bit for in Wolverine's world and Wolverine's story, the place that Yukio, Akiko, and Mariko fill. Mm-hmm. And they're very different. Very different characters, very different parts of Wolverine. And we get more exposure to this at the very end of the story, the places that these three females in particular pose in Wolverine's story. Carmen Pryde, Kitty's dad, has wandered off. I have no idea why he wandered. Everything was so scary, and rather than staying with people that can protect me in a town I have never been in, I decided to run away at night into the shadows and try to be wandering around. And he's, all this stuff is going through his head about Kitty and his story as it pertains to this particular miniseries. He wanders to where he comes to the American embassy in Tokyo. And ultimately turns himself in. He says he wants to report a crime, which, with what he has been saying in his head, you can tell that the crime he wants to report is his.
Yeah.
So
you could say he had a crisis of conscience.
Yes, he did. Cut back to Kitty, who is still air walking, I guess, trying to get a visual maybe on Wolverine and Ogun. I still don't know where she's going or what she's doing other than just wandering around at a time when she knows that her powers are not that effective. So she is wandering around, addled, maybe weakened, whatever. At any point, her powers could cut out like they did before, but she is determined to use them in this way that she is purposefully putting her life in danger by doing whatever she's doing. And I suppose it's just an aerial search for Ogun and Wolverine, which in a city the size of Tokyo, I'm not sure really how effective that could be because
it ends up being pretty effective.
Well, you got to further the story.
Yeah, she happens to choose the correct direction.
Yeah, and she's at the right building when her powers gives out because she falls and catches herself and then manages to get a leg up, a helping hand up, and it turns out to be Ogun, which is kind of interesting because the building is being built. So you have a lot of the steel girders and big openness and all that kind of stuff. That's where Ogun is. I believe, Wolverine did find the top floor in the same kind of situation. So, okay. I was going to say it was an open floor, but it's not. It's a building that's being built on. But Wolverine, I guess, got to the top of the elevator shaft, and I guess it's not been built all the way up yet because he is on a floor when he comes out of the elevator shaft that is not the floor that Ogun and Kitty find themselves on. So now Ogun is still determined to defeat Kitty. So they start fighting just as Wolverine appears, and he gives Kitty the they're theirs and the pats, and I'll fight this fight for you, which isn't necessarily what she wants, but Wolverine, I don't know, being Wolverine, being the man, being, for a variety of reasons, this is the way it's going to go down. Yeah. Mano a mano between Wolverine and Ogun. Fight starts again. We see the charging at each other, and that panel's kind of cool because we have speed lines for both gentlemen, and we have a gap of no speed line between them, which you would think they're coming from opposite sides. And so they meet up with Ogun viciously finding a resting place for his sword through Wolverine's midriff, poking out the back. What's his face in Elektra was the first time I ever saw that. Bullseye and Elektra with a sigh. So, Wolverine, I guess he ran him through and then pulled the sword back out, which I don't know why you would do that, but pulled it back out, at which Wolverine shattered the sword and then hit him in the arm, Ogun in the arm with the claws, and he dropped the remnants of the sword. And they do this eye-to-eye thing again. And here, these two panels, it's not split vertically. It's one panel that has been split horizontally. Yeah. So you see the two faces, right? Ogun and Wolverine. And instead of like they have been doing on the cover, dividing it, you see it for whatever reason divided horizontally with the eyes, right? And then the rest of the face. And I guess maybe that's why they did it, to separate the eyes from the rest. And then they're like, well, we should just go ahead and carry on the rest of the face, and we'll put it in this one down here. So, Wolverine, something changes in him here. Our wills cross for the last time. I smile. If you didn't have the rest of the book, you wouldn't necessarily understand why he smiled. If you're familiar with Wolverine, given the situation and physically what he's been through, and the fact that he's in a final showdown and he smiles, you kind of know what's happening. Yeah. And what that is the ultimate extension of the mantra that Wolverine has. His mantra, which he said it earlier in the issue, I am the best at what I do, and what I do is not very nice. The ultimate extension of that concept is this fury that he finds himself falling into at times when he gets hurt enough, when he loses emotional control over himself physically enough. He has this, he calls it a berserker rage. Yeah. And part of that rage is also, I would imagine, why the creators named him Wolverine, because he goes animal. He's big and strong, nearly indestructible. He heals quickly, and he's got big, nasty claws. So if he were to let everything go and just be a wild animal, that is what his berserker rage is. He loses track of how much damage he's taken or how much damage he's causing or whatever. It is the ultimate expression of the Wolverine animal. Yeah. And that happens here against Ogun. It takes Kitty aback. She is frightened, disgusted, whatever other adjectives for just being put off by it. I was trying to think. I guess maybe she's never seen this happen to Wolverine up to now, even with the X-Men. So maybe this is the first time she's ever seen Wolverine truly cut loose with everything that he can do. Ogun starts to realize that this aspect of Wolverine is not one that he can keep up with. He can't do that. This uncontrollable fighting. You know, if you've seen any number in whatever other medias of martial arts fight, they're typically very controlled. The fighters have an opportunity to think and at times even plan what they're wanting to do. They fight very stepwise, either acting or reacting, whichever position they take. Well, Wolverine isn't doing any of that. He's all gas. He's all on. It's just, so defending against something like that would be very difficult, if not impossible, because you have, at any given moment, you would have no idea what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Other than they're going to try to kill you, get you down, hit you with the claws, whatever. You don't know how. You don't know where it's coming from. You don't know when. You don't, nothing.
Yeah, he's unbridled fury. He's a force of nature. He is an unthinking, unfeeling, killing machine whose sole focus is just to kill what's in front of him.
Right.
And
to end this situation that he found himself in. So he does. Ultimately, Ogun tries with a couple daggers, and Wolverine disarms him. He tries with some more throwing stars. And I think the way this is written or drawn is that Wolverine blocked them with his claws.
Yeah, I think so.
Almost what I envision, which would be cooler, is that a bunch of them sunk in and he just brushed them off with that other hand.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That's what that's my head canon. That's what this panel is showing, is that he's just ripped them out of his arm so he doesn't have to worry about them anymore. Faces up against Ogun. He's about to deliver the final blow, and he does, but it doesn't go through his head from the jaw up like it looks like. That's one of Wolverine's favorite tactics. He'll retract the claws. He'll put his fist under somebody's chin. And of course, everybody that is watching, is listening to audio only, you can see all of my motions on the camera. So, he puts his claws under the chin, and he tells them, either he'll extend the two on either side and say, I'm going to stick out this middle one, or they're all three retracted. And he just says, I can end this in just a minute if you want me to, by extending the claws and retracting them. So, but here they're extended, and he swipes up and he gets the mask off of Ogun rather than killing him. Destroys the mask, throws it off, tells Kitty. So he has come down from his berserker rage. He has unmasked the final defeat, the final protection of any sort that Ogun had. He is defeated. But rather than delivering the felling blow, Wolverine says, no. The death stroke, the killing stroke, is yours, Kitty. And he tells her. Because to ultimately be free of Ogun, you have to do this. You have to. He doesn't say this, but the implied is, in order to be rid of the man, you have to kill the man here. So he set him up. Kitty runs at him with the broken sword and is about to deliver the blow, and then she stops because she understands that to finally be free of the man, I don't have to kill the man. I have to be free of the desire to kill the man. That is when I have defeated him, because that's what he taught me. He taught me that killing is the end of everything. And Kitty's decision is no, the decision to not kill is the end of everything. And that breaks the programming that you put in me, because I am not doing things the way that you would. So that's what she does. Wolverine, again, as much for us as Kitty, explains that. That was good. That's why I gave you the chance, because I had to make sure, Wolverine, had to make sure that you were clear of this programming, because if not, after you killed Ogun, of course, I would have to kill you.
Yeah.
Which is what he implies. I don't know if he could ever do that, but that's what he implies. So Ogun is defeated here. Kitty and Wolverine are heroes. They give the theirs, and they start to walk off into the sunset, except that Ogun he might be defeated, but he's not done. Typical bad guy. He picks up a weapon. He makes one last chance to do something to win some aspect of the fight, or so. I don't know ultimately what the plan is, but he charges at the two of them, and they intersect such that it is like the cover. Ogun, Kitty in between, and Wolverine. Wolverine sees Ogun attacking, tells Kitty to phase. Ogun's attack slashes Wolverine instead of Kitty, and Wolverine puts his claws through Ogun's chest. So they both end up getting hurt. Ogun seemingly terminally. Kitty phases and isn't affected by either one. Wolverine drops basically, I think for a variety of reasons. My first impulse was that was just the last of his energy.
Yeah.
That was just, I used up the juice. Also, though, he is emotionally defeated because at one time he and Ogun were very close, and he just killed him. He didn't kill him just a couple of seconds ago. He gave this thing about Kitty having to do something, but also it's because obviously Wolverine didn't want to, or he would have, and he would have made whatever excuse about Kitty not doing it. But he didn't want to do it then. This is the situation where, of course, the former teacher gave him no other choice, and Wolverine had to put him down, and he did. Top right panel on the first row. We see a situation there in that panel that for a while Marvel Comics didn't illustrate this way. They have recently, I've noticed, gotten back to illustrating things this way. Ogun is laying in a puddle of his blood. Marvel Comics, maybe all comics, got away from doing that for a while. I remember it would be a different color, or the blood wouldn't be there at all, or whatever. Now I've started noticing that in the more graphic situations in comic books, that they have gone back to actually showing blood a lot more than I remember recently.
This, I know that as I'm reading these Conan books, I'm still in the 70s, but in Roy's book where he talks about the Conan issues that he's writing, he's talking about that that is a time in the mid to late 70s when the comic book code authority is starting to become less strict. And so they will submit things to the comics code authority that maybe wouldn't have gotten by them before, but it's like they just take a chance, and sometimes they get it by and sometimes they don't.
Okay. Well, it's funny. Marvel Comics can't show somebody smoking, but they can show somebody spurting from a trunk where they were beheaded.
Yep.
Which is kind of a similar thing to depictions of sexual culture in this country and versus other countries, and depictions of physical violence in this country as opposed to other countries. Yeah. It's an interesting reversal of what is generally accepted for consumption. Yeah. So
it's like, we don't want to show Wolverine smoking because we don't want kids to associate smoking with somebody who they think is cool, but it's cool to cut somebody's head off because Wolverine does it a lot.
You lose an arm and it spurts out on the battlefield. That's okay.
Yeah. That's the blood.
Yeah. That's like, we can show somebody crawling out of a vehicle accident maimed, but we can't show sex.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. So, much more verbiage here. This is
a lot of text.
Yeah. This is the emotional denouement of the story. Wolverine explaining what the preceding 5.5 or so books have meant to him. Kitty explaining what the last 5.5 or so books have meant to her. Doesn't cover it too much between them, but you can infer what it means between the two of them, what the connection between the two characters is. So that's how this page ends.
To go back real quick to our talk about what society deems appropriate, Bill from Long Island says, just watched Conan the Barbarian on YouTube, edited for TV, blurred breasts, but seeing the human meat soup is okay.
Yep. No boobs, but meat soup with body parts is okay. Okay, yeah. It's like I didn't make the call, so not sure how you justify and not justify. It's like
our origins in America are
puritanical, and it even so much that today now that's what they. Okay, I don't want to get into that. Wolverine crushes Ogun's mask and dumps it on him. There. And somebody, I can't really tell, maybe it's Wolverine, as he's walking away from Ogun, has made puddle footprints of the blood. I'm not sure. Maybe that was Wolverine from where he stood over him and then The next panel, we can see the footprints as he and Kitty are limping away. I'm not sure why it had to be drawn that way, but it's like, okay.
I don't know. I've looked at that a number of times, and I'm like, is that supposed to be he stood in his blood and those were the footprints from that puddle of blood, or is it just to show us that Wolverine is still bleeding?
Oh, yeah, I guess it could be Wolverine. Yeah, it could be his. No way to really tell, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, so we get to the epilogue. Everybody is getting back together. Wolverine has healed somewhat. He's walking around with a cane, much like the shaman kind of dude with the
Real quick, Bill from Long Island left another comment to continue on. He says, I wonder if a disembodied breast were in the soup, would that need to be blurred?
Only if it was floating nipple up, Bill.
That's right.
The nipples seem to be the thing. It's not the boob, all kinds of side boob all day long. The nipple, however big you want to say the nipple compared to the boob, that is what is the offending part. The nipple. Because if it has a nipple, it makes it a boob.
Yeah. All you got to do is paint to cover, you can still see the boob and the nipple, but if it's painted, that's
or pasties.
Yeah, pasties.
I don't know. It's the nipple that puts it over the edge. That's too much.
The nipple is the eye of the devil.
I'm like, okay. But yet men without shirts, that's all there is. Yeah, I mean, we have what they call a breast, but it's not, of course.
In your face.
I'm like, so men, do we walk around with our little, our pointer fingers covering,
Well, I mean, I do.
I don't know, whatever. You do?
I do all the time.
No, I don't. I had mine removed years ago, so I don't have to worry about it. Yes, I am nippleless.
Well, we had in one of my bands I was in, Larry, we had our bass player had his nipples pierced.
Okay.
And at one point he was wearing these rings with a little ball in the ring, and he was wearing like a really tight t-shirt.
Okay.
And it was at a show or something, and a woman asks him, do you have 2 sets of nipples?
Yes.
Because the little ball looked like another nipple.
Okay.
And, when the t-shirt was pressed against it. So he became, from that point on, known as the double nipple bass player.
Okay. What was his first
John.
Why didn't you call him Two Nipple John?
Because he had a bunch. He was like the one guy in the band who had multiple nicknames. He would always play with the knobs on his amp between songs, do 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 do, trying to get that perfect tone, do 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 do. So he was also called Knobs.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he was just called Johnny Freemanowski, the double nipple bass player, or Knobs.
Okay. Okay. So everyone, if you're listening, has gathered here. They have found where Carmen is, because after he turned himself in, they kind of kept him there, as you would assume with a perpetrator. What is the word? Someone who breaks the law. What is the word for that?
Criminal.
There we go. Criminal. Yes. Words are hard. So they meet him at the embassy, and this is everyone, right? Yukio, Kitty, Wolverine, Marco, and Akiko. Yeah. Yep. So they're all there. And now Carmen. We get the what's going to pass as the everybody is okay scene between Carmen and Kitty. Yeah. Still lots left unexplained as far as my impression from either perspective. There still has to be lots and lots of questions.
But where they start their reconciliation.
Yes. You're okay. We're okay. Yeah. So we see that so the Prydes are okay. Wolverine, Marco, Akiko, and Yukio. Yukio runs off on her own because she is not a group person, unless the group is her and Wolverine. That's the only group she digs. Otherwise, she's not a group person. So she leaves and throws out over her shoulder, give Aurora my best. If you're not an X-Men fan, you're not going to understand any of that really, but that was a storyline in the X-Men, Aurora and Yukio. Very important storyline for Aurora. Storm, if you don't know Storm. So that leaves Wolverine, Mariko, and Akiko, which is the as far as families in the book go, that's kind of the core family unit because Wolverine has proposed to Mariko, and that's mentioned in the story here, such that he does want to marry her, and he's made his intentions known. So Wolverine's the dad figure, Mariko's the mother figure, and Akiko is the child. So we have a it's not nuclear, is it? It's nuclear, right? It isn't nuclear like atomic energy, nuclear.
Oh, I thought it was the same word. I'm going to look it up.
Maybe it's not. There are two different words, nuclear and nuclear, I believe, and I'm not 100% what each means. Maybe I'm just mispronouncing nuclear. I don't know.
No, it's nuclear.
Okay.
It's the same as nuclear bomb.
Okay. Well, but I mean, an atom, you think an atom has those things in the middle, and then it has electrons. So there's the group in the middle.
A nuclear family, also called an elementary family, atomic family, or conjugal family.
Okay, I'm not going to call them an atomic family. That's never going to. I don't think I would ever use the word conjugal either. That's a visit while you're in prison, as far as my thinking. So yeah,
that's right.
Conjugal would not be the word that would come up. Those three stay together, and they decide to go do something that Akiko would like. The Prydes come with them, almost as the older generation, the grandfather, but then Kitty kind of throws all that off. So there's, and also you can even look at the Prydes as the American family and Wolverine et al. As the Japanese family. But they go to a ice cream parlor because it's what Akiko wants to do. And now Kitty and Akiko, the two children, are off taking care of their order and what they want and everything like that. And the adults, Mariko, Wolverine, and Carmen, are off talking about more adulty things as it applies to Akiko. Akiko is probably in her, she's middle school age, I would say, if I had to guess. Although I think that Kitty probably is still maybe middle school age also, maybe junior high. And I'm using terms that I don't think, well, no, middle school used to be, I would call that junior high, but I think now they call that middle school, and then you go to high school after that. Yeah. Used to be grade school, junior high school. So
yeah, I think they established, I can't remember, but I feel like they established that Kitty might be 14 at this point.
And for 100 years, she was like in the early teens. I mean, it was always where she was. So I guess Akiko would be younger than that. Maybe she is single digit ages.
Yeah, she's like a 5th or 6th grader probably.
Yeah. So they're over there. The adults are talking. The adults are talking about the children as adults or as parents would. We get a little bit of more knowledge, if you haven't been following Wolverine and X-Men, about Wolverine, Mariko, and Akiko. We get that here. A little bit of the worrying about Kitty, which this whole story basically has been about her. So that's very apropos from Carmen, but also from Wolverine. And then the final scene is our reinforcement that after everything that we have seen in the 6 issues, Kitty is still just a child. Because she's sitting there digging into a sundae like nobody's business and having the best time in the world. So much so that Akiko is like, oh, brother, because of how good a time she's having.
Yeah.
Kitty is still, maybe a double entendre there. Kitty is still a child, even after everything that has happened. But also remember, despite everything that has happened, Kitty is still a child. Yeah. So you're seeing both, I think. So ultimately it's like breath. Okay, Kitty's going to be okay because she's acting normal.
Well, and it's funny because Carmen is sitting in the booth with Mariko and Logan. And it's Mariko and Logan that are doing all the talking. about Kitty and Akiko and blah, blah, blah. And they're doing it all in Japanese. So Carmen can't understand a word. He's just sitting there kind of smiling and nodding.
Nodding his head, yeah.
They do say Kitty twice during their conversation. So, he's kind of like, that he knows that they're talking about her, but he has no idea what they're saying.
So what did you think of the 6 issues?
I think it still holds up for me. It was still, again, this was pretty much my introduction to Wolverine. So I learned in this series when I was 12 years old that he heals, but not that fast, and he can get injured to the point that he has this berserker rage. Yeah, I think it still held up. I loved it just as much now as I did then. However, reading it again through adult eyes, there are a bunch of little nitpicky things that you can find throughout the whole
inconsistencies with what they may have established then compared to maybe what's going on now as well. So it's but it for those folks that haven't read it, and if you're reading contemporary X books, particularly any that have Kitty in it, this would be a foundational series for Kitty Pryde and how you see her now. Now, this is not where she started. Where she started is about 4 years before this, and it's a very different place. So, if you're a Kitty fan, depending on what you want, you have to read different things to really get it. But as far as Wolverine, the concepts that involve Wolverine in this have been replayed over and over and over ad nauseum with different characters and different settings and whatever. So, unfortunately, this gives you a little bit of insight into Wolverine, but it's not insight that is specific to this miniseries. You can find these kinds of stories about Wolverine spread out from here, 86 to now. So it's not for Wolverine's characterization. It's not necessary. For Mariko, Akiko, Yukio, it's not necessary. For Kitty, though, I think it is.
Yeah, Kitty and then Carmen are really the only ones that have any kind of character growth.
Right.
They start the story one way, they end the story different people. Nobody else in the story really does that.
No. Ogun, he appears a couple other times. This will be the first place, so this is his quote unquote origin. So if you're into the bad guys, this would be a place to start for reading about him.
I kind of want to now go back and start X-Men with the issue that Kitty first appears, and just read all of her appearances leading up to this to see what exactly who she was when I first encountered her.
That's in the 140s, maybe something like that. Uncanny X-Men or X-Men. Yeah, I don't think it had changed over to Uncanny. Well, no, maybe it had. In the 140s, I think is where, because she first appears, if not in the same issue, then an issue or two before as Dazzler. So actually, both have been affiliated with the X-Men about the same amount of time.
Yeah, because I know it's early in John Byrne's run. They send part of the team for her and the other part of the team for Dazzler.
Right, exactly. And they're both, I think they both maybe turn out to be physically pretty close too. Kitty Pryde, they live in Illinois somewhere, and I think Dazzler's performing in like Chicago. So I mean, they're like, I think they're pretty physically close together too.
All right. Anything else you want to say about this issue or the series in general?
I think it has been said.
I don't know that this is considered, when you think of X-Men, classic X-Men stories, I don't think this is on the list of classic or even classic Wolverine stories. It should be on a list of classic Kitty Pryde stories because again, it's her story.
Yeah.
But it's always going to be a classic for me because it's my introduction to the world of X-Men, my introduction to Kitty Pryde and Wolverine.
And it was 40 years ago. So I think that officially makes it a classic, does it not?
Yes.
I think what, 30 years or 25 years, something like that.
I don't know.
So yeah, it's a classic.
All right. You want to talk about the ads?
Sure.
See if we got any ads this time we haven't talked about yet. And
Yeah.
right away we get one. We get an in-house ad for the new Cloak and Dagger bi-monthly comic. Because you love their limited series, the Servants of Darkness and Light will now lead you down exotic paths to adventure and excitement every 60 days.
Which for a while they were considered mutants. Currently, I don't know if they weren't considered mutants here.
Yeah.
But in the 2000s or so, they started being considered mutants. And now I'm not sure what their designation would be. So conceivably, if you're a mutant fan, this could be another place that you could go to read about. I kind of place them more in the Spider-Man universe than I do with
me too.
Mutants and X-Men.
This series is being done by Bill Mantlo, Rick Leonardi, and Terry Austin. I have like fond, nostalgic memories of Cloak and Dagger, but I don't think I think it's from Spider-Man because I know that when I got the Marvel app, I looked at their limited series and the new series and this series, and I don't remember anything from either one.
Yeah, probably appearing in Spider-Man. They're ground level heroes based in New York, so Spider-Man has crossed paths with them somewhere along the way.
And I tried to watch the TV show that came out a few years back, and it just wasn't very good.
I didn't want to mess with it.
Yeah. We have the same Fig/Apple Newton Maze ad.
Yep. Turn sideways.
Turn sideways. Yeah. We have our Star Comics subscription page.
Which, if I remember, I believe Star Comics had a Masters of the Universe series in them.
Yeah, I think so.
Does it show up in the list here? No, it's not on this list. But I believe they published a few issues under the Star banner.
Yeah. We get two ads on one page. One is for East Coast Comics, and it's their list of back issues that you can get. And then you have a in-house ad for the Rocket Raccoon limited series.
Rocket's origin.
It's his origin by Bill Mantlo and Mike Mignola and Al Gordon.
Who originally appeared in Hulk, I believe, is where Rocket first showed up.
Kind of a crazy thing when you think about the fact that, he's this nowadays famous space character and first showed up in the Hulk. We got our classified ad section here.
Which
couple of new ones in here.
Standing out are the stickers. I think that's cool.
Crazy label.
And given that it's Shark Week starting today, Terror from the Deep here in the corner.
Is it Shark Week?
Yeah, this is Shark Week on whatever channels do that. Yeah.
So it's a new genuine killer shark's tooth pendant and a heavy silver necklace for just $3.
I guess not to be confused with the puka shell. The puka shell is the big, I think, the big beachy thing now. Yeah. I guess it used to be shark teeth.
Nothing else here stands out. We get more classifieds. The one that stands out to me is the Choose Your Own Adventure ad up at the top.
Well, it has to stand out to you. It takes up just about more real estate than anything else. So, yeah.
But we do have an ad for rattlesnake eggs. Great joke. Guaranteed.
I had some of those. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Okay. It would come in a small envelope, kind of like the envelope that you get money in from the bank.
Okay.
A little shorter. What it was it's a gag. And inside the envelope, because you would give the envelope to somebody, and that would be the start of the gag. Something would happen and they would be surprised by what happened. That was the gag. Inside that little envelope was some device that had a rubber band and it had a disc, either plastic or wooden. And what you would do is you would wind the disc, right? Hold it and put it down in the envelope and then hold the envelope closed so that when you release the pressure, it would unwind going like a rattlesnake. Yeah, that was so. Oh, you want to see these eggs? So you do that, and you'd either give it to them or you'd hold it open a little bit, and that sound, and that was rattlesnake eggs.
That's funny. It's a great joke, guaranteed to frighten anyone. Leave it on a table or give it to a friend and watch the excitement. $2.
Yep.
We also have an ad to purchase a sling, the same type of sling David slayed the giant with. Order now and get your initials stamped on it for free. That's $6.50.
That's pretty pricey.
And then amazing and fascinating products you can build: lasers, phasers, ion ray and plasma guns, see in the dark and lightning generators, plus many more. So $2 for that catalog.
I don't know about building them yourself, but okay. And we ran out of ads. Right. We didn't have enough ads to put on there because there's just this panel of cap.
Yeah, just this. Yeah, exactly.
A filler panel. Yep.
Totally. Next page is, I never did. This is okay. Olympic Sales Club. So I never did this, but
I never did any of these sales clubs or grit or any of those. I never did any of that.
But I would always look through these and think, oh man, it would be fun to have a big.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah. I'd want to sell this much so I can get this and this and this and that. Yeah. Yeah.
Calculator watch. There's a little race car set. Trivial Pursuit game. Yeah. A lot of fun prizes. This is one of those pages where, there's a 2-man boat kit. All you had to do is sell 21 items to get that. But okay, so what you were selling were all occasion cards, personalized stationery, and gifts from this Olympics. So, yeah. If anybody listening ever did this, please let us know. The email address is in the show notes. We have our Power Pack and Spider-Man PSA with tips on ways to prevent sexual abuse. We got our bullpen bulletins.
Which, did somebody pull all of these out and make a book of these?
I don't know, but it's a good idea.
I would think that it would have had to have been Jim Shooter, but I don't think it was. But I thought I saw that there was a book that just was these different bullpen bulletins all produced together.
Let me look real quick. Bullpen. Book. Yeah. Yeah, nothing's coming up.
Okay. Maybe I'm thinking of a different. Maybe all the Stan Lee ones, whatever he called his.
On the DC side, I can't remember that guy had a column, because Peter Rios talks about him every once in a while on the Daily Rios when he does the look back.
Maybe that's
25 years, whatever. It might have been that guy. I don't know. Peter, if you're listening, let us know. If you're not Peter and you know, still let us know.
Or let Peter know and he can let us know.
Yeah, and then Peter can let us know.
Right, yeah.
All right. Here's something new. This is what is this? This is an ad for, I didn't look over these ads very well.
Marvel Comics ad survey, it said. I would like to see ads for. So
okay.
So it's asking the reader's input for what kind of ads you want to see in the comic.
Okay, I see it now. It's set up as a 4-panel comic book with Spider-Man telling you what the survey is about, and then you have a big yellow thing that you would cut out of your comic book, because everybody did that.
Yikes.
I would like to see ads for electronic games, candy, snacks, toys and models, clothing, sneakers, computers, and others. Bill from Long Island says Stan's soapbox collection. So that's what was. So, yeah. We have another. It's weird that both this one and the last issue had basically 2-Star Comics ads. You had the one that was the page where you could subscribe, and then you have the in-house ad that's just, hey, Star Comics is here, and here's the comics that are kicking it off. And that's it. That's our ads. Anything else?
Yeah, there was Masters of the Universe did come out through Star Comics. Okay.
Cool.
January 86 to 88, 13, looks like 13 issues. I thought so, but these ads, neither one of them had it. I'm like, okay, maybe Masters of the Universe wasn't one. But these are all the more kiddie leaning than juvenile leaning, I think.
Yeah, and this might just be the initial offering. I think you had said in the last episode that by the time they were done, they had
there were 40 or 50 or 60 different books that they put the Star label on before they squashed it. Yeah, there were a lot.
All right. Let me wrap it up.
Yes, sir.
Pull up my notes here. Okay. All right. Coming up in season 2 of the comic book show. Yeah, I'm gonna do that again. Coming up in season 2 of the comic book show. Ed, I think I'm gonna let you take this because you're the one that chose what we're going to talk about next.
Okay. I went deep diving, maybe into things that were not as mainstream as Marvel and DC. It just tends to be where my interests typically go if they're just left to wander. And this is a book that I read when it came out, and I have read once more since then, many, many years back. And so given my current mental place, most of what I will be reading as we read this will seem brand new, even though historically it's not. So it's a character. The title of the book is the character's name. It initially started published by Eclipse in their Eclipse magazine, which was an anthology magazine that they put out. This is a 6-part story initially that ran in Eclipse magazine issues 2 through 8. It was then collected. Those segments were collected in a trade paperback, so you could find it those 2 ways. Then this IP was moved from Eclipse to Marvel's Epic line, as Epic was an attempt to bring more of the quote-unquote indie sensibility under Marvel's banner so that those people that wanted that type of reading could spend their money with Marvel as well. The creators, some of them at times for the Epic line were true indie creators. A lot of times they were Marvel and DC house creators that just had not, up to that point, really had the freedom to do what they wanted to do. And so they came to Epic to be able to do that for a little while at least. The next 6 issues, the next season that we're going to look at is going to be Coyote by Steve Englehart and Marshall Rogers, the first 6 issues. Now, that is what is in the trade paperback, if you find it, called I Am Coyote. In the Epic magazines, those were the installments, the first 6 installments. When it went to Epic, what they did is they published that trade paperback to kind of catch you up. And then Epic started from there with another 16 to 18 issues after that, 16 issues. So overall, it was 20 to 25 issues spread over 2 different publishers. We're going to look at the first 6 installments, whether you want to look at the trade paperback, which is a little different with the interstitial between chapters, or if you are privileged enough to have the actual Eclipse magazines, you can get it from there, or you can get it as it was reprinted in the Marvel Epic stuff. I think Steven is grabbing his, so he's got the I Am Coyote trade paperback there. Yes.
Started reading this. I'm maybe 6 pages in.
Okay.
I'm really excited to get to the issues.
Right. That is the Epic issues. Yeah.
I'm far enough in that I'm like, okay, this is really interesting. It's a little different than what I
did. Right off the bat, did the artwork strike you as being different from what we've been seeing in?
Yeah, yeah.
Or maybe the coloring, something about it. Was there something about it that
it feels like an indie book?
Okay.
I mean, there's just something about the art, the coloring that just it feels like it's independently produced. Bill
which
from
was
Long
the
Island,
goal. So
yeah. Bill from Long Island said this will be a good experience to get outside of the big two.
it's not too deep as far as what you can do, quote unquote, in indie stuff. You know, it's very you can see that it's very related to mainstream Marvel and DC at the time. There will be those, particularly from Steve Englehart. I mean, he's been doing Marvel books up to now. I think Marshall Rogers might have come from somewhere else to do the art on this. I would have to check on that. But yeah, it's got that feels different, but not different. Both kind of things is the way it kind of struck me at the time. So yeah, it's a toe dip into the what is not mainstream Marvel and DC at the time. You know, some other stuff could quickly get over people's heads, particularly their if they're really into DC and Marvel. This kind of is a good bridge, I think, between what else can be done and what Marvel is doing at the time. So
now I'm sure we'll talk about this, of course, when we start talking about the issues, but Steve Englehart, is he the guy that created Howard the Duck?
No, that was yeah, that wasn't the dude's name. Let me look here.
All right, I'll just take that out then.
Well, no, you don't have to take it out. Steve Englehart. Steve Englehart, I think about with Captain America. Steve Gerber. He did Howard the Duck as well as a lot of other stuff. But yeah, there's Bill. He knew too. Steve Englehart, I always think of when I think of probably 80s. I don't think too much 70s, but 80s Captain America.
Okay.
That's always one of the first things that come to mind whenever anybody's talking about Steve Englehart is a run that he had on Captain America.
Yeah. All right. So that's what's coming up in season 2 of the comic book show. Episode 1, we'll be looking at Coyote #1 from 1983. I haven't quite decided. Ed and I kind of talked before we started recording whether or not we wanted to take a break between seasons. If we do, I mean, maybe a month. I don't know. No more than a month. I mean, we're recording the episode now. It a month before it should, or we're recording the last episode of season 1 now.
Right.
We're about a month ahead. So, I mean,
and then this one won't drop for another month. So that's 2. So there's kind of a built-in break. I mean, and just, I said that just whatever, whichever way it occurs. It's, yeah.
But yeah, that's what you can look forward to next time, folks. So until then, I'm Steven. That's Ed. And this was the Comic Book Super Show. Thanks for listening.
Ciao.
Did I get that right that time?
Yep. You have, I can see you have little like Post-it notes somewhere that point this way.
Let me look at my instructions. Okay.
What do I do? It's like,
I just have to point in the opposite direction.
Well, yeah, because I'm looking and I'm like, well, he's over there on my left. So I point this way. It's like, no, that doesn't even go in the right.
And so now here's the part of the show that everybody loves when Ed and I save our audio file.
We.
So episode 5, which is looking at Kitty Pryde and Wolverine #5, lands tomorrow. It landed last Monday for subscribers.
Right.
But okay, so this is Comic Book Super Show 005. No, 006.
Yeah, no, not 5. All right.
Okay, folks, thank you for hanging out with us on this Sunday. Next Sunday, we will not be live streaming. I am going to be recording with somebody else.
Hey,
I already told Ed I'm not cheating on him, or I am.
You are, but you told me. Yeah, so it's like
Ed cheats on me with this person all the time anyway. So, I'll talk more about that. Talk more about that later. But then the 9th is when we will get together to record episode number 100 of the Superman Super Show. You know what? Let me throw this out there.
Okay.
Because originally, of course, the idea is that we're going to look at those newspaper strips. But I don't know when it comes out. I feel like it's not for another month, maybe. Open relationship casting. Oh, I get it now. But the guy, I think his name's Wes Craig. He does, oh my God, what is the name of that book he does? I'll find it. Hold on. I got a bunch of the first issues. Title. Kaya. Do you know the?
No, it doesn't sound familiar.
Kaya. There. It is on my phone.
No.
Anyway, yeah, he's doing, because the Golden Age Superman has entered the public domain. He's got a mini series coming out, and I can't remember the name of it, but it is Golden Age Superman. And I feel like it's coming out in August, maybe September. And I thought, what if we delayed episode 100 and talked about the first issue of this Golden Age Superman comic that's written in 2026.
Okay.
Let me find out exactly when it's coming out. I'll let you know, and then we'll decide at that point.
September 2nd.
September 2nd.
It's the first issue. So it's a month and a half from now? Nah. A month from now. Set in an Art Deco inspired 1938 metropolis. Yeah, I'm always curious about stuff like this, because people writing about and writing in a voice and writing a character from a time that they are not, I always wonder how well that'll come across. It's like, that's your impression of Golden Age. In essence, is what they're doing. Whereas, of course, the stuff that we're reading now, it's like, well, no, that is Golden Age, because that's when it was written. So I'm always kind of curious about, what, other than the fact that you said that this occurs in, 1939, as far as when it was published, what are you doing to convince us that it was 1939 was your setting?
Yeah.
If all that makes sense.
Well, here's what's crazy. When I originally started reading about, I follow him on Instagram, and he's posted a couple things talking about it. I had no idea it was actually being published by DC. I just assumed that because it's called The Stranger, I just assumed he was exercising his rights to publish a story about a character in the public domain.
Okay.
Which made it way more interesting to me. So now that I know DC's publishing it, it
reimagines early Superman through Golden Age comics and Fleischer Flair, which actually I've been wanting to sit down and watch the Fleischer stuff. I think I've seen like one episode and maybe bits of others, but I've never watched the entire run.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, it's funny because the one we had a videotape that just had old cartoon. You go to Walmart and you find it in a bin for $4, and it's just got a bunch of old cartoons on it. And it had an episode of one of the Fleischer Superman serials, and it was one of the very first ones because they hadn't had him flying in the first one. He was just jumping. So Simon, for the first, I don't know, 10 years of his life, that's the Superman he grew up with, was watching that Fleischer cartoon.
Okay.
And so one day I'm watching the Christopher Reeve Superman movie, and he comes in and he just freezes. Superman can fly. I was like,
yep. Yes, he can.
Yep. All right. I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Bill from Long Island, as always.
Unknown folks, and thanks, Bill.
Yes. Bye.